Hello and welcome to another Happy Pod, the only podcast in the world. My name is Nathan. As always, I'm joined by my good friend, co-host, and bit of a cunt. His name is Lawrence Thomas Hicey. Hello, sir, and how are you?
Never mind.
No one
Nathan.
cares, Lawrence, because stop trying to preempt me, all right? Just say hello and then let me interrupt you rudely, all right? Know your place, little bitch. Lawrence, no one cares because you have to tell us what this silly little show is all about.
It is true, Nathan. Hello. Today is the show where we...
And, you know, he had a week off.
You threw me off because you coughed.
He had a week off last week, and now suddenly he's forgotten how to do his job.
I have forgotten, but I'm going to remember it right now. Nathan, this is the show where we get together, we talk about all films.
All films. Every single one. We're gonna get to them. Just you wait.
Oh, God. We talk about all things pop culture. We talk about movies. We talk about TV shows. We talk about games. And we have a bloody good time while we do it, while avoiding some toxic negative... I'm fucking this. Oh. Staying in. We're transparent. Nathan, we avoid toxic discourse, don't we?
You know, earlier this week, Lawrence, we discovered that our other podcast, Still Got Legs, available Mondays at 10 a.m, is now more popular than this one by quite a margin, and I'm starting to see why. is all I'll say.
Listen, all right, this has been twice, right? Because last time you just got me to intro out of nowhere, and this time I fucked up my own contributions to the intro. I'm embarrassed.
You can redo it. These are edited. No one will know. You can redo it.
No, Nathan, I'll know.
Okay. Well, that's professionalism if there ever was. Imagine Scorsese, just like someone messes up a take, but he's like, no, we can't redo it.
It's staying in, unfortunately. Nathan, how are you this week?
I've been ill.
Yeah, you have. I got you a Lemsip, though. Did that help?
You did. Thank you for that. You ordered a single packet of Lemsip and sent it to my house.
Was it? No, it should have been a pack of...
No, yeah,
about
like a single box. I mean, like a box of Lemsips. Not a single pack, sorry. That was poor phrasing on my part.
One sachet for you, Nathan.
One sachet, yes. So thank you very much for that. It did indeed help.
That's all right.
Yes.
You're welcome. How are you feeling today? You a little bit better?
A little bit better. I have a whiskey once again. I guess I'm turning into an alcoholic now.
You got to sort out that throat. You sounded absolutely diabolical when we did Still Got Legs, to be fair. You sounded rough. You sound better today.
Yeah, so there you go. If you want to listen to me sound rough, go listen to this week's Still Got Legs.
They're already there anyway, Nathan.
Yeah,
this podcast
true.
doesn't have anyone here anymore.
That's true. But Lawrence, we're not here to talk about Doctor Who today. We're here to talk about a video game. Is this our second or third of the year?
Oh, you're going to trip me up. It's Jedi Survivor and a second, I think.
I'm sure we would have done another one, but I can't think what.
Did we do the new Call of Duty that comes out next week?
No, because I don't care about that. And also, it's not out yet.
Not because of the fact that it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. 2. I don't know. You fucking... Audience, go back and listen if you really care. Right, go and find it and tell us.
Don't put this on them. I asked the question. Don't think it's their fault.
They got to put... Nathan, we're a dwindling podcast here. They've got to pull their weight if they want us to succeed.
We're not dwindling. This is, if anything, it's more popular than it ever has been. It's just that Still Got Legs is even more popular. We're doing all right, okay?
It's true. It's very telling we started this podcast 3 years ago, and the one we started this year is the one that we've hired an editor for.
It's true, yeah. Just for full clarity, we still make zero money off both of them.
Nathan got so fucking sick and tired of editing Still Got Legs. He was like, fuck it, I'm fronting the cash.
That's true.
Never mind how many games we've played. The only thing that matters is if you've played this one, which is Spider-Man 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Have you played it?
Lawrence, not only have I played it, I've 100% completed it. I've platinumed it. I've done literally everything you can do in this video game. And it's going to be difficult to talk about it because I've completed 100% of it. And currently you've completed 33% of it.
Right.
So, you know...
I've done more than, right.
Someone hasn't pulled their weight.
I've done the whole story, and I've cut into the side quest. I feel like I've done more than 33.
Well, I'm looking at the cold hard statistics right now, Lawrence. According to PlayStation, you have completed 33% of this game.
Well, the PlayStation is wrong and I am correct. I've done the story. That's the main thing we're going to be talking about. I've pulled my weight. All
But
right?
there's some very good and interesting side missions and stories to talk about, which I guess we just can't.
All right, right. First place to go into. We never did. The podcast didn't exist when Marvel's Spider-Man came out, so we never did an episode on it. Refresh us, Nathan. Where are you at with this character, this iteration of the character?
We did an episode on Spider-Man Miles Morales.
We did, yeah, but that felt fairly early on. Must have been, right?
Yeah, it was in like the first few months of the podcast, I think.
So maybe unlistenable, maybe not. Who knows?
None of them are unlistenable. They're all great.
I don't know. I feel like we've become more unprofessional, but that makes it a bit better. We've discussed Miles Morales. Where are you at with Spider-Man, and then briefly Miles Morales?
I'm sure we would have discussed Spider-Man as well. It's a game I enjoyed quite a lot, obviously, as did pretty much everyone, I think. Great interpretation of the character, I think. Yuri Lowenfeld does a good job. I actually enjoyed the story of Miles Morales more than the story of the first Spider-Man game. I just thought it was a tighter story, more focused, and I think it was just, for me personally, just a lot better. Not a lot better, but better.
It was leaner, more, yeah, like you say, more focused, definitely.
Yeah, and I enjoyed like the community aspect of it and that type of stuff, and yeah, it was really great. So yeah, enjoyed them both. I was very, very excited for this. And yeah, here we are.
We did that thing that we've only done once before. That's how you know me and Nathan are excited for a video game, where we FaceTimed each other at midnight or like 11:55 p.m. when it was coming out the next day.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just chat and get excited together. And then as the clock struck midnight, we were like, right, we'll speak to you in a little bit. See ya.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I really I loved the original Spider-Man. I loved Miles Morales as well. I think like what they both managed to achieve was pretty, like, especially Miles Morales for like launching on the PS5, and it was like the swinging, how it had like a noticeable improvement, the performance mode, like it was, I think every time they've one up themselves, they've always taken a next step into like performance, as well as diving into a character that, you know, wasn't Peter. Which is like, I know shouldn't be sacrilege, but like from a company to put faith in Miles Morales and give him a platform like that, I think is really fucking cool. And I did really like them. I do think I preferred Spider-Man 2018 more story-wise, but I think that's also just a product of there was more story, I guess. But Miles Morales, I think, wins on like the side quests and stuff, because where it was so, I remember us saying in the Miles Morales podcast, it was so, the story was so lean and tight and focused, and really not a lot of hours. You could beat the game fairly quickly, that if you weren't doing the side quests as you went along, you kind of missed a core part in Miles's character development, because all those side quests kind of are focused on getting him to be kind of accepted by New York as kind of a sub-community's own Spider-Man, which is really, really cool. What do you think about Spider-Man 2?
This might just be the greatest game of all time.
Okay, yeah.
Like, there was so many points when I was playing this video game where I was just like, I wanted to scream, and some points I did. Some points I physically screamed at my TV because I just couldn't process what I was seeing, what was happening, whatever set piece I was going through. It was so visually exciting, the leap in performance this has made since the first one. This is the first game that I've played on the PS5 that makes me feel like I'm playing a PS5 game. That like this is a step up from what I've played before. Like, this is really the next generation now. This is my first proper taste of that, I feel. Everything about this has been just so fucking incredible, and I had a truly amazing time performing, and it performs so well. It's kind of a shame to give a video game praise for just working upon release these days, but I guess that's the industry we're in. That's the state of it. I only ran into a couple of bugs, and they got patched up pretty quickly, I think. So yeah, overall, it's been a very clean, pretty great release, pretty great launch for it.
No, you're right though. Like the leap in performance is ridiculous. Have you seen that side by side video of Spider-Man 2018 and Spider-Man 2023 jumping off the Empire State Building?
Yeah,
and like that. Firstly, how far they end up going, or like how a jump swing how far it can launch them into the city, and it's night and day.
Yeah,
like it's almost a shame because I love Spider-Man 2018 so much, but like it's going to be real fucking hard. People have said this to death, but it's going to be so hard to go back to that now.
Yeah, it is.
And be like, what? It feels so slow and sluggish. What the fuck?
Yeah, it will. It will. It was, to be honest, it was hard to go back to Spider-Man after Miles Morales because, like, I don't have no venom abilities or anything like that. Now it's just punching in webs. Classic Spider-Man. But no, it is definitely a huge leap in performance and technology and everything about it. It just feels so clean. Just transitioning from cutscenes into gameplay, it's always so smooth, and there's never any awkward, janky moments or anything like that. It's clean, man. It's just really well polished and really well done.
You know, there are still fucking losers complaining that they didn't give him his face back or something. His original
fuck,
face.
grow up, move on. Who cares? Move on. My God.
It's been 3 years, dude.
I
Calm
know.
down.
It looks better.
It was done to match Yuri Lowenthal's face better, so that he could be so that he could express and emote as the character easier. I don't understand why people have an issue with it.
You know me, I'm not a gatekeepy person at all. I don't like gatekeeping, okay? I think it's very fucking dumb. But I get very gatekeepy around certain aspects about this game because, like, whenever I see, look, like what you like, enjoy whatever you enjoy. But when I see people posting their screenshots and videos from their gameplay, and I see them wearing either the original Raimi suit or the Raimi black suit, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, of all the great suits in this game, the symbiote suit, this Insomniac symbiote suit in this game is fucking incredible. Why on earth would you choose to wear that fucking boring, ugly Raimi black suit? I might get cancelled for this take, but I don't care, man. Like, I hate it. It's boring.
I also think, like, it's not a good port over, like, in the sense that, like, not just the Raimi black suit, but the Raimi suit in general. Like, you have the TASM 1 suit and the TASM 2 suit, right? They look movie perfect. Cutscenes in wearing them suits, they could be out of the movie, right? They look phenomenal. And then the Raimi one, it just feels wrong. It just doesn't look... Firstly, and maybe this is sacrilege. Maybe I'll get cancelled for this. I don't like the Raimi suit. I don't think it looks good.
Neither do I. I've said it many times before. I don't like that suit. I especially don't like the Raimi black suit because it's... I don't understand it. It's like the whole point of the symbiote suit is that it's something different. It's something different and alien and unique, but they went, oh no, just the same thing but black, I reckon.
Venom, the symbiote, gets to that suit and is like, this is fresh enough. I reckon I'll just give it my own spin.
This is absolutely fine. We'll change up the spider a little bit. We'll give it some longer arms, but other than that, all good. All good.
The symbiote suit in Insomniac Spider-Man 2, it's like, firstly, it starts as just the slick black design, and then it gets more like slimy and gross as it goes on, and then that's a separate suit. And like, why anyone would want the Raimi black suit over that is the mind boggles. It's beyond me.
It truly does. So what did you think of the story?
I really like it. So like we were texting. Firstly, elephant in the room. Nathan and I have spoken about this, right? It'd be impossible not to speak about this.
Yeah.
So I'll rephrase some stuff that I've said, but like it's fucking slick, right? It goes for like, I think it goes for a bigger and louder approach with the story than the first one did. The first one was very like detective vibes and like interwoven, and Peter was solving a case more so than kind of outwardly being shown stuff and then dealing with it. But the one thing I kind of picked up on halfway through the story, and I'm really excited to play it again because of this, is like the first game really dealt with how being Spider-Man affects Peter Parker, and this game is really, really good at dealing with how Peter Parker being Spider-Man affects people that love Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Because, like, he is stretched thin in a way that he's never been before, and it's a thankless job being Spider-Man, but when he becomes the prick he does, obviously infused by the symbiote, it's hard to watch. I find, like, I've seen some people saying this story is, like, less emotional, and I'm like, I convulse every time that Peter is, like, rude to MJ, or, like, dismissive of Miles, or, I don't know, like, I find the story very intriguing, and just overall, like I say, louder and bigger. It's more fun to play, I think, maybe.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. There's no doubt about that for me. Yeah, no, I think so too. I think it's like I said, a really great step up from the story of the first one. Everything about it just seems a lot bigger, a lot more action packed, but also in terms of story, just a lot more personal as well. I feel like than the first one. And of course, this one we have two leads in both Peter and Miles. I don't know if it's necessarily an equal spotlight on both of them.
Yeah.
I think it does still lean a little bit towards Peter, and that's okay. I feel like probably 60-40, I'd say, but I still think both of them shine.
I think if I was, and I am hard pressed to do this, but just for the sake of maybe something interesting to talk about, so it's not just an hour and a half of us being like, this game's incredible.
Yeah.
I would say the only critique I could make of the game is I think what I really enjoyed about the first one is kind of how interconnected and how interwoven everything is. And naturally, when you're dealing with one century protagonist, right, it's fucking a lot easier to make everyone know them.
Yeah.
And all of this. But like, I wrote it down that like, because I was trying to work this out earlier. Like, Peter works with Otto. Otto used to work with Norman, who are both to blame for Martin Lee, who employs Aunt May, then kills Jefferson Davis, which leads to Peter meeting Miles.
Yeah.
Everything is woven so well together, and I think I don't know if this game suffers for it, but there is definitely a more of a spotlight on Peter, and I feel like sometimes I know part of the story is that Peter is dismissive of Miles, but I feel like sometimes when you cut back to Miles, the story halts a little bit, and maybe what Miles is doing is cool in its own right, but like a bit disconnected, a bit disjointed. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does, but I also feel like that's slightly intentional because, like,
Yeah.
when you're playing as Miles, I feel like you are supposed to feel a little bit left out and cast aside by Peter,
Yeah.
because Harry's back, and we'll talk about that, and it's suddenly like there's this new person you don't really know, like taking up all of Peter's time. You have phone calls with Peter, but it's always like, oh, I gotta go, Miles. I'll speak to you later, and all that sort of stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So I
It's
feel
fun
like,
to be on the receiving end of those phone calls,
Yeah,
by the way.
it is, yeah.
We've only done them from Peter's point of view, but now
Yeah.
when Peter's hanging up on us, we're like, fuck you.
yeah, like, all right, it's a little rude, but okay.
Yeah.
Guess you're busy. I'll see you later. Yeah, I feel like, I do feel like it is intentional, but I see the point. And there is like parts of the game where you can't play as Miles for, story reasons and that type of stuff, which we'll, I'm sure, get into. But I don't ever think Miles' story suffers as a result of that, though. I just think it's enhanced, and it's still a great story up until capitalist choices that are made, but we'll talk about that a little later.
It's time for a Miles Morales original. I don't think so.
I don't know if that is a Miles. I think that's a corporate greed original right there. But we'll see.
I like, you're right. I don't think it suffers for it, and you're right. It definitely is an intentional choice. You're like, Peter's got a new friend on the block, then that new friend has superpowers, and Miles has never felt more useless to Peter before.
Oh yeah. There's a whole new Spider-Man, and now it's like, oh, I guess.
Yeah. So it's like he's there, like, oh, Peter's got his new friend, but at least I'm his like number one backup Spider-Man guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, he calls Peter, and Peter's on like a mission with Harry, and Peter's like, I'll explain later, and it feels like I don't know, like an ex has caught you out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it suffers for it. And I think there definitely is a reason, because like Peter is fighting off to some degree, I guess, to like a lower stakes version of an all right kind of alien invasion, and Miles is like, I gotta get my college essay due, and someone's robbed the local art museum or something.
Yeah.
God damn it. I've seen people have the criticism that like it does Miles dirty, but like Miles has always been a closer to the ground Peter. Closer to the ground Spider-Man. Like, that's what his whole game was about. It was about reconnecting with a community.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, and also what do you think of his like Martin Lee stuff that he does?
I think it's really good. I think it's interesting. I like it quite a bit. I've seen the criticism that like it kind of comes out of nowhere because it's not like brought up in like Miles Morales, which I can understand. But Martin Lee wasn't in Miles Morales. Like,
yeah, it's purely brought up because he sees Martin Lee free and out.
Exactly. Yeah, like as in Miles Morales, Martin Lee was in the raft the entire game. Like, he wasn't thinking about him. So like,
And Miles doesn't want to kill him, right? It's like Miles wants justice, so he was locked up.
it would be weird if at any point in Miles Morales it was like, but I want to kill Martin Lee, who isn't here. You know? So like, yeah,
if that had happened in Miles Morales, people would have complained that it was out of place for that game.
Yeah,
So,
and it would have been. It would have been. It made sense in like how it was brought up here, I think. Yeah, no, that all worked for me. And, you know, I think there is some really great Miles stuff in particular. The coming to terms with Martin Lee and that type of stuff. And you know, like, he says at one point, like, he'll never be able to forgive him, but he's, like, able to, like, move past it and all that type of stuff. And I think that's good. There's some really good moments with that, with him as a character. So, yeah. I
think as well, like, because obviously it's natural to view that story from the perspective of Miles, but, like... Yeah. He's just one side of it, and Martin Lee is a character that we've had a lot of kind of personal face-to-face time with from the first game. Yeah. From his perspective, I really like it. We'll get into this in a bit anyway, but there is this underlying theme of like some villains are being reformed in this. Yeah, if you're a Spider-Man villain, you're either dead or reformed in this game.
And that is fucking something I love about this game, and it's like some really surprisingly heartwarming moments from like from characters I was like having a fight with in the first game, and it's really good actually.
It is good, and I think that up there, obviously, Martin Lee takes the spotlight of reformed villains. But firstly, it's like a level of Miles is more kind of 2 feet on the ground than Peter, and Peter even says, like, I could never do that. I've never been able to reform one of my guys. Yeah. And I think it shows an emotional growth in Miles that is... Sometimes he has it more together than Peter does.
I think so.
In a lot of ways.
He's a stronger Spider-Man than Peter, I think, in terms of his ability and stuff, judging by the fact that they had to give Peter the superior Spider-Man arms just so he could keep up with him, really.
Yeah, in the first half of the game, like, it switched to Peter, and I was like, oh, guess I'm back to slow punching. No, but, like, from the Martin Lee perspective, I like that. I think reforming him is a great idea, because he was... the entire point behind Mr. Negative is that he is 2 halves of a man, like, and an extremely conflicted one at that, and I think his central beef was done, right? I guess Norman never faced any consequence, but, like, he was able to make his mark, and then halfway through making his mark, he realized, oh, shit, I kind of went overboard with this one, becoming New York's biggest terrorist.
Just on that, just a little side note. This game keeps teasing the fuck out of Green Goblin, but never actually committing to it. There's like a moment towards the end when they're like planning for the final attack, and they're using like a fantasy style board game to represent like what they'll be, and they have a little character for reference as Norman Osborn, and it just happens to be this little green goblin, like fantasy goblin character. And then you swing through the city, and there's like big like murals of Norman Osborn, but then he's got like a green horn spray painted on him and this type of stuff. And there's so many little things like that. This game is such a fucking tease when it comes to Green Goblin.
Can you imagine like Spider-Man 3 comes out and like they keep the villains so tight and hush, right? And then I don't know. It's just it's like what's that villain? The Wheel or something?
Big Wheel.
Yeah, Big Wheel.
That'd be great. I love it.
And Norman Osborn is just there like, I'm just the mayor. Nothing weird about me.
The Big Wheel was... There's the actual character model of the Big Wheel in Miles Morales, and it was like a thing. It was like something he and Finn designed, some like science project thing. Yeah,
I missed that completely.
I know you did because you never do side quests.
I'm fairly certain I did everything in Miles. I did all the side quests. I may not have picked up all the little hats or whatever the fuck.
Well, that's a side quest that counts. So.
No, it doesn't count. Swinging by something and taking a picture so that Robbie Robertson can be like, man, that is New York.
It's a side quest.
Not a side quest.
It is. It's a side quest. So Harry's back. So like a big part of the first game was that we found out that Harry, you know, throughout the story they're saying like Harry's in Europe, he's on a big trip or whatever, but we find out that was all bullshit, and he suffers from the same disease that his mum unfortunately passed away from. And he's in a big green tank, emphasis on green, again addicted in us. And he's getting better. And like right from the end of the first game, we're like, ooh, symbiote Harry. Harry has a symbiote. So like they've never really kept it a secret. And then this game, of course, opens up with we get like a flashback and we see Norman giving Harry the symbiote before he like goes in the tank to heal or whatever. What did you think about Harry's like inclusion in this and his character and the way like he at first has the symbiote and that type of stuff? Well, obviously we'll talk about Venom a little bit later, but just for now, Harry and that type of stuff.
So Harry in general, I think they like 'cause the first game had this Chekhov's Harry's in Europe kind of thing. Like it just was obviously like it just kept getting brought up. And
it was great because if you do the research station side quests where like Harry's left like all kinds of missions for Peter throughout New York, like he'd always get lines where he's like, I wanted to do this before I went away to Europe. It's like, come on, man.
It was so on the nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so I like that, and I think them being very forthcoming in the Venom situation, or at least the symbiote situation, with Harry is like a genius move, because when he shows up in this, obviously he's in like the first scene of the game.
Yeah.
And then he disappears for a little bit. I think he just shows up at Peter's house, or what he, I guess, presumes is like Aunt May's house.
Yeah.
And he just...
No, he knew about me. He knew about me. He said it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just kind of like, he rocks up and you're led through all this. It's that classic screenwriting technique of they want to endear me to someone so that they can betray me.
Yeah.
Like, and you see like he's like, remember when we went in high school and did this, and you get to play a little bit of young Peter and young Harry.
Great little mission, by the way. I love that a lot.
Yeah, I love anything that kind of like highlights a focus on character and stuff. Is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's a Spider-Man game. There's plenty of punching. So every time they slow it down, I appreciate it a little bit.
Which is why that exactly what you just said there. That's exactly why I am a defender of the MJ missions in the first game.
Yeah, right. I've never had a problem with these games.
I like
these
them.
missions.
Yeah, I like them. It's a nice change of pace, I think.
Yeah. I'd also just give me a breathing, give me a bit to breathe every now and then.
Yeah.
And also, they have their own arc. They progress. MJ is powerless, then she gets a little gun. Then as the teamwork with Peter progresses and they come more in sync, Peter's then included, and you can ask for Spider-Man takedowns. I think it works.
There are some fun memes about this game though, where it's like average MJ mission in Spider-Man 2, and it's just like a clip from John Wick or something. Just taking down a room full of people.
I don't have a problem with it. So I'm pretty sure if it wasn't Brian Intihara, it was one of the writers who came out and said like, MJ is OP, but like, you want it to have fun, or do you want to walk around and be caught every 4 seconds?
Yeah, who cares?
Like
it's fun.
You choose. Yeah, fucking hell. Do you know who else is OP? Fucking Spider-Man. It's not realistic either. But yeah, no. So Harry, what I think they do so well with Harry is they endear us to him, and the entire time we know that the symbiote is likely the reason he's alive and walking and everything else.
Yeah.
And they take a decent chunk of time before they reveal Harry as having the symbiote.
Yeah.
So the entire time you're like, are you being influenced? Like, is this a trick? All this save the world, all this heal the world with Peter, this job offer? Like, is this all bullshit? What's this?
That ultimately seemed genuine because it very much built off everything that was set up about Harry in the first game, really. Like, he has a big sort of, like, environmentalist nature in him and that type of stuff. Like, he has a lot of those values, obviously, put in there from his mum and that type of stuff. Like, all his research stations were all about, like, improving, like, quality of New York and the environment and that type of stuff. So that all made sense to me, I think.
I like that. There's loads of stuff in the first game. It's like, Peter, the air in New York is toxic, right? What you need to do is you need to go and choke on it for a bit and get me some samples.
Yeah. Also, I don't know you're Spider-Man, so I don't know how you're going to swing through this, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I have no idea that you're Spider-Man, but like, I'm sure you have the means to, never mind my millionaire dad, I'm sure you're the one with the ladder that's capable enough to go up to the Empire State Building or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. And that's also kind of something that's interesting about, like, I think there is an unsureness that surrounds Harry, and then there are other people, like you've just said, where immediately like, yeah, no, this checks, this works. And I think
Yeah.
maybe it's just on me, and maybe I kind of read it in a different way to other people, but like the ambiguity of it keeps you on edge, and it at very least you know that something with Harry is coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. There's something that's just unsure, really. But for me, it was never Harry's like secretly a villain, and I still like, having played through the whole game. At no point do I think Harry himself wanted to hurt Peter or wanted to do anything bad to anyone. Even when you have like scenes of him literally threatening MJ, I still don't necessarily think that's him fully. It's, you know, it's obviously the fucking. I mean, look at the shit Peter did. Come on, like, I think it's fully the symbiote influencing that type of behavior. I think Harry fully just wanted to do exactly what he said: heal the world, save the world with his best friend, and the symbiote just fed on that and fed on it to a fucking extreme level. But yeah, it's really good. I like the reveal when we do get the Harry reveal that, you know, he's using the symbiote. That's like this is why I like Insomniac's. I'm hesitant to use the word Marvel universe because it sounds strange, but their sort of universe they have, because they'll do things a little bit differently. And it's like Harry has had the symbiote before in comics, you know, Craven's had it in comics and that type of stuff. So it's not something new, but they always find new interpretations to do these stories that have been told time and time again. And it's always very interesting, because here we get a little bit of Agent Venom mixed in with the traditional symbiote storyline and that type of stuff. And it's really interesting. And the reveal, you know, when they're at Coney Island and the roller coaster's coming down and Peter's there, trying to stop it, and then Harry comes in. That's just a great reveal right there. And then I love the way that he's just instantly like, holy shit, that's Pete. What the fuck? You're Spider-Man? I like that stuff.
I like how immediately cool, and then they go and do it. It's like reliving college days. They go and just spend the night in what essentially, you know, is their office but looks like a dorm room.
Yeah,
or looks like a posh dorm room anyway. No, I like all of that, and I think it is what you're saying about how they kind of change adaptations. I think it all just comes from they have less time with us, right? It's fucking expensive and hard and very time consuming to make a game like this. And so much so that they've been going on this since 2018.
Yeah.
And you know, the original 2018 game feels like a lifetime ago now.
It was 5 years.
Which is fucking. I mean, I'd even say that's quick.
Yeah,
they turned this around considering they pumped out another game in between that. And I know there's different teams and everything else, but as a studio, I think they're very committed to not wasting our time. So, you know, if they're doing Venom, you know, then the next game there's not going to be a place for Agent Venom. So if they don't use him here, they're probably never going to use him. So let's use him.
Which
I think is really cool.
Yeah, I like Agent Venom as a character. I think that's always my favorite version of Venom, because traditionally it's usually Flash Thompson who has the symbiote, and it's it's a much more it's someone who someone who's always you know, Flash Thompson has always been a bit of a prick to Peter, but absolutely loves Spider-Man and that type of stuff. So it's kind of like the complete opposite of Eddie Brock in that sort of way. And it's I don't know, I just really like that character. I like how he's able to take, you know, what is traditionally a villain in the symbiote, but use it as a force for good as well. I don't know, I like it. And I like the design of the Agent Venom suit that Harry kind of has. That was quite interesting before it starts to change and stuff.
I think I like all of the iterations of what the symbiote does. I'd say the Agent Venom suit is my least favorite, because I think it looks a little bit like hockey pads and knee pads and stuff. It looks a little bit like baby's first superhero suit.
But it kind of is though, isn't it? But
I guess so, yeah.
Harry doesn't know what he's doing. He's just
Venom's you'll need these knee pads.
He's oh, this looks kind of cool, I guess. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I see where you. Well, yeah, no, I do see where you're coming from. On the symbiote, before we get to all the big Venom stuff, I did want to talk about how it you know, Yuri Lowenthal was universally praised as Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And I think in this, it would be very easy for him to fall to the wayside here because you've got Miles sharing a bit more screen time, a new performance from Harry. I think MJ is performed very, very well. And like, I don't know, it'd be easy for Yuri Lowenthal to kind of deliver more of the same and kind of, you know, be consistently brilliant but fall under the radar. But that's not the case in this game at all.
No, fucking, we'll talk about this more a little bit later, but fuck, I don't know what the best actor equivalent is for video games, but give it to that man, because fuck me, there's some like moments in this where I'm like, fucking hell, he's gone full bully. Lowenthal is the meme, I believe. I
think he channels this like, I don't know, there's something about his quality as Peter Parker that is, firstly, it's so interesting that he can play it natural and super emotional and super serious, and he can seemingly hit those ranges, you know, from 0 to 100, he'll break in the middle of a line. And there's also, especially in this performance when he is kind of being affected by the symbiote, he has this, like, I don't know, Saturday morning cartoon vibe to it. It feels very exaggerated and over the top, but in a way that doesn't scream this is ridiculous for any reason.
Well, you'll have seen the clip from the 90s animated series, the Shocker moment. Like, Shocker! Curse you, Shocker! Which, yeah. I think before the game came out, it actually leaked that Shocker died off screen, so I think people were actually upset that we wouldn't get that moment.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Yeah, but what I'm saying is like the 90s animated series Shocker, which I love, by the way, but it's like that is like a kind of full on like ridiculous version of it, and it's obviously become a meme because of that, and rightfully so. And like he's kind of channeling that energy, but doing so in a way that actually works and is actually like really intense and really fucking like at some points just downright fucking terrifying. Like it's like so strange to like have, you know, be playing as this character who's always just so like lighthearted and fun, and you know, he has issues and he has problems he has to deal with, but he's always telling quips even when he's crime fighting. And then he goes stop a break and he's like, I'll stop you, and he's just like, that puts you in your place. And it's just it's so, I'm like, I don't know if I should be doing this, man. Like,
I also think there's like a separation between it as well, because like he starts, and also the way they fade that persona in is natural as fuck, because you almost don't realize it until once he like says something that's just a bit too far, and you go, oh, what was that? Hang on a minute.
It's true.
But like when he's beating up bad guys, when he's stopping crimes at this point in the story, it's very much like you'll pay for this, and then like beating the shit out of them, and you're like, that's a bit off, but like at least it's an antagonist. And then there are times where like MJ calls him, and like then she like says something he didn't need to hear, and and she hangs up, and then suddenly Peter's like, who does she think she is talking to me like this? And it's like, mate, okay, calm down.
Some of the shit he says about Miles, like when he's talking about Miles, and he's like, Miles screwed up again, and he's like, hey, like he did all right, calm down.
He did better than you, Peter. Where's your venom powers?
It's brutal. No, he really does a good job. Kraven the Hunter is introduced.
And made the mistake of saying, like, choke me harder or something.
Wait, what?
You know the bit where, like, he's having his final battle with Peter as who is fully in symbiote mode.
Yeah.
And he's, like, grabbing him, and then Miles comes down and he's like, you don't want to kill him, this isn't you, Peter, or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, there's this moment that people have turned into a meme where he, like, because Kraven is, like, being strangled, and then he goes, harder.
Oh.
People have been like, ooh, hello, Kraven.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, what do you make of Kraven then?
I think he's great. This is fucking. They didn't make, because he's always been done. Not always, but he has been done well quite a few times. But like, It's funny. I'll be very interested to see the Kraven the Hunter movie after watching this, and just like see how things play out there, because this was a truly terrifying interpretation of the character, and one that you're like, oh shit, this guy is not fucking around, man. Like one of our first introductions to the character, he just straight up fucking murks Scorpion, like just fully just kills him dead. Like there's no ambiguity to it. He's gone. Yeah. He's just fully dead. And it's like, and when that happened, I was like, oh, what? Oh shit, we're doing it? Okay.
Oh fuck.
Oh fuck. Okay. And I feel like it was a good introduction to him. I do have some criticisms in how some of the stuff was handled with him, because like I feel like a lot of it was tell rather than show, because they like he killed like a lot of Spider-Man villains, but most of them were off screen. Like stuff like Vulture was killed off screen, Shocker was killed off screen, and quite a few members of the Sinister Six. I don't know if Rhino was killed. I know there's like some there's some like out of game stuff which has been found where it's like the head of Rhino is like displayed on a wall, like a hunting trophy sort of thing, but that doesn't actually appear in game itself, but it is like in the code and the files and stuff. So like,
I think it was like a concept they had, but it wasn't in the game at launch. And people can find it because it's embedded there.
It's there somewhere. So like at this point, unknown, up in the air, I guess. But it was something that was floated by at one point at least.
It would be a shame if Rhino is gone, because I feel like out of all of them, he's the one that, like, we've seen more of Rhino than the rest of them, but he's got so much more potential for like having a little fun interaction with Miles. Miles and the Rhino are such a fun kind of like pairing that keeps happening.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah,
I was so happy when Scorpion, when you found out the Scorpion was gone. I was like, yes, no more fucking hallucinogenic missions. I fucking hated those from the first one.
Boy, were you wrong.
I know. Yeah, then like the very next thing I do is go and fucking do a disco or something. That's fine. I'm like, you guys put your hands in the air.
It's but Kraven is like, it's a really great version of the character. I like that they're not afraid to just go all out in this universe and be like, sure, there can be an 8-foot man. Why not? There can be just an 8-foot hulking man who's just impossibly huge and has a pet tiger, because why the fuck not? You know, I like it.
So scientists hate Kraven. Find out why. Is this body shape attainable?
It's not.
Your woman wants you to look like this.
Like there's some stuff around Kraven which is like, you know, he's got the army and that type of stuff, but I think that's more just, it's a video game, so you need someone to punch, don't you? You need you need the goons and everything like that, and some of it does get a bit silly with like the dogs and the birds and all this sort of stuff, but like, you know,
it does, but at the same time, like if they weren't there, you'd moan that they weren't. Like it's just like Kraven should have a kind of a faction of villains. Like, right, if you have a problem with that, then like, not you specifically, but like if people have a problem with that, then like, where was the problem when like a 16-year-old girl corralled an army and then like they all had like fucking shock? Like I'm talking Finn from Miles Morales.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I was like, what? When was this?
What the fuck are you talking about? I just saw I realized that wouldn't track for anyone else. I saw your face and you were just getting more progressively confused. But like, they all have factions, right? It's the
I know. And it is. It's because it's a video game. Like, if we're doing a comic or a movie, I don't think that would necessarily be the case. And I don't think it should be either. It is purely because it's a video game. And, you know, you got to keep things like fun and focus and that type of stuff. But Kraven himself, like, the more, like, I spent so much of this game being like, oh, Kraven's going to be Venom. Kraven is 100% going to be Venom. Yeah, like, Kraven's going to get the symbiote, and he is somehow going to be Venom, because like, and I feel like the game goes out of its way to make you think that as well, because like throughout the game we get hints and stuff. We find out that, you know, like Venom is actually, he's not well, he's actually dying, and we know like the suit has like healing capabilities and that type of stuff, and you know, he's got a family. And then they do like the classic church scene, like the whole symbiote church scene is like, at night, it's raining, you're going to a church, like I know there's gonna be a storyline. Like, what's going on here? And like, it's Peter and Craven in the church, and Craven rings the bell, and he sees the weakness of the symbiote, and I'm like, oh shit, they're doing it. They're gonna give him the symbiote. This seems a little quick, but all right, I guess he's gonna be Venom now. But they were like, no, Trick, you got jokes, haha, fucking pranked, bitch. And they switched it up, which was good, I think. But yeah, I was fully convinced right until the end that Craven was going to be Venom, and I was very happy to be wrong with that as well.
Yeah, no, I think where they do end up going, with it being Craven's like final hunt and him craving, Craven craving something to, like, he's looking not for a competitor, for an ender, right? There's no
a worthy death, a worthy hunt to finish him off, basically.
Yeah, and
he has that fucking hard as fuck line where he says to Venom, where he says like, "You will be my last hunt, and I will be your first," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, fire on the so script." Hard. Yeah.
I just before we move on from that church point that you made, I saw fucking again the Raimi like diehards. They
I saw this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's when they were like, oh, fucking, like, you know, copying Raimi with the church scene with Venom and stuff. Like, Venom, like, Raimi's so goated, they can't think of anything original. They had to copy Spider-Man 3. And someone just quote tweeted it saying, like, where do you think fucking Sam Raimi got those ideas from? Like, fuck, shut up.
It's not like it's one of the most famous comic book sequences of all time.
It's oh, Jesus Christ. It's like... And also, if you think that's wrong, like, you know, like that bin shot that you like from Spider-Man 2, yeah, it's the comics did it. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking hell. But yeah, no, Craven. There are some shortcomings in terms of, like, not where the story takes him, but just kind of how briefly he's actually in it, and how much, like, does happen off screen and stuff. But I think, like, firstly, the performance is incredible, and you have, like, really incredible things. Like, they do the Spider-Man thing where, like, everyone reveals their deepest, darkest secrets on a tape recorder and then just leaves it on a table forever.
Yeah, I love that video game trope of the tape recorder confession, but also the fact that they'll do it over multiple tape recorders and leave them scattered across the room in various locations.
Because I've never considered that.
Because they can't use one, because then you just go through it all at once. They'll buy like a box of like 50 tape recorders.
This is my Otto Octavius is like, this is my Martin Lee tape.
Yeah. Oh, it's very funny.
Yeah, it's like they leave it in places like, I have an office and a living room, but like all my stuff pertaining to the podcast I leave on my office tape recorder. Yeah. And the stuff about my new sofa is on my tape recorder.
That's not exclusive to this. That's just a video game trope. The Last of Us does it a lot as well, and that sort of stuff.
True.
It's very funny, I think.
But yeah, I like that. Like, there's one moment specifically where you can take out the you start taking out the hunter, like the bases and stuff. And one of them that, like, it just got me fucking. I feel like they put enough character in the world if you explore it enough that you find stuff that you think is lacking.
Yeah.
And I understand it's not as easy to come by, but, like, you're playing Spider-Man with probably one of the video game's best traversal systems to date.
Yeah.
Go and fucking look about. Meet them halfway.
Yeah.
And I think that the one that I found, it was chilling to listen to, and this is what I'm saying about the performance, right? Because it was Craven speaking to, I guess, his partner, his wife, who has stayed back. It didn't come on the hunt. And he says, you know, like, she says, when you return, and he says, I'm not going to return. And she says, well, there will be, the children will draw blood to take over the heir of your empire. Like, they will draw blood to sit on the throne, essentially, of the house or whatever. And he says, like, the cubs have to earn their place. And she says something along the lines of, like, they'll come for me. And he's like, then I suggest you go for them first. Like, a man encouraging his partner to kill his children.
Yeah.
Because it would mean that she is worthy, and if she dies, then, oh, well, she wasn't worthy. Like, I don't know, man. That's just fucking cold as shit.
Yeah, yeah. It really is. And I like the way like they weaved a lot of that stuff into his character. Like there's missions where you're sneaking around like the clubhouse or whatever, and you find out just more about him and like his family's traditions, and the big like feast before the hunt. But like they themselves never took part in that. They like prayed instead and that type of stuff. And it's all just very interesting character stuff, I feel like. I don't see. This is where things get tough because you haven't done the side quest. So
what I haven't done, I've heard about where most of it ends up. So you can talk freely. I don't mind.
So do you know who Craven's brother is?
I guess I don't know that.
Okay.
No, go right. I it's been out long enough. I suffer for this podcast. Just tell me.
Okay. Well, there's a very variation of side quests where you just basically chase some drone birds through like some flying stuff, and because it's all people Craven has been hunting, and it's like all a mixed match of data, and as you're going through them and knocking people off the list, you're like, hold on, this person died 20 years ago. This doesn't make sense. Oh, this person died 100, whatever. This person's long dead. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would Craven possibly be hunting them? And then you find out that is actually the Chameleon, noted Spider-Man villain, who is apparently in this universe Craven's brother. He is now hunting Spider-Man as well. Like, he has a line like, "What you couldn't finish, brother, I will," or something like that. So.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, that's fucking cool.
The Chameleon. So he's like a character who can, a bit like Clayface, but like there's been different interpretations of it. But he can just change like his appearance and that type of stuff. So
yeah, I was gonna say, is it Big Wheel? Is Big Wheel Craven's brother?
It's not Big Wheel, unfortunately. No.
Damn, that is quite cool. What do you before we get into like the individual parts of it all, like where. As someone that has 100%ed and platinumed and everything else, like, where do also try and, I guess, kind of compare it to the original game and the Miles Morales game, where do the side quests, like, land for you in terms of, like, enjoyment and how it works and everything else?
That I didn't do in this game, I didn't do a single side quest, which I didn't at least enjoy, all right? Because they're all really either like ridiculous fun or just a lot of fun to anyway. There's one side quest where you find, this happened immediately after I lost the symbiote as Peter, so it felt like just a nice thing to do afterwards. But there's one side quest where a blind woman hears a noise in her garden. So you're like, oh, I'll go investigate that for you, and it turns out it's one of Craven's robot dogs. And then you have to like chase the dog around, but it's got like something wrong with its wiring and that type of stuff. And eventually, it just the way the mission ends up, the old woman just ends up keeping the robot dog as like a friendly pet.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's great. It's ridiculous, but it's great.
Please tell me Peter gave it a once over to make sure it wasn't suddenly going to eat her.
It's fully like Genki upload. I think he says like he uploaded like 1,000 hours of friendly cat videos to the memory files of the dog. So now he just acts like a friendly little pet instead. Yeah, no, like ridiculous but fun. And then there's also side missions which are just like heartbreaking and emotional. There's one I did where like this woman, she can't find her granddad. She was like lost.
I did this earlier today. And oh man, this crushed me so hard.
Yeah, and then you eventually find the granddad and he's just sat on a bench, and then you just sit down and talk to him. And he's telling you about how he lost his wife and the things they used to do together. I was like, fucking hell, man, this is... Oh. And I know for a fact that you haven't done the Howard mission yet. But
no,
my God.
I haven't done the Howard mission.
I won't spoil it, but my God, do it, man.
I've heard that there is like... I don't know what and how it ends up. I don't quite know how I haven't, because of people were making such a big deal over the Howard thing. But... whatever it is, I'm not prepared for it to upset me as well. I have an idea because, like, of the way people are saying stuff, but yeah. No, I also think that like there is a level of that change of pace that we were speaking about earlier. I like the side quests, like that finding that grandpa one that like slows everything down a little bit, and like the main bulk of the mission. Like, yeah, you go and tracker thing to
Yeah.
swing somewhere. But that's really not the point of the mission. The point is to get Spider-Man and put his feet back on the ground and let him talk to just a person and like one of those everyday citizens that like he just swings above so often and doesn't see.
There was one which I really enjoyed where you come across like a photographer who's like trying to make a name for herself and stuff.
Yeah, this is
and then it goes into a whole flashback as you as a young Peter, like making your way to JJ while he's just yelling at you down the phone, like, Parker, be a man, run into traffic, and all this type of
You're
stuff.
a New Yorker.
Yeah, which is very funny. And then you like have to beat up some goons as Peter as well, and it's all very fun and that type of stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that mission quite a bit as well.
That was a good time. I did like that one. I'll tell you what, like I know some of it's. I know they introduce it in the main game, but then it becomes side quest. I really quite enjoyed the storyline of Miles hunting down his musical instruments.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
which in a game where which in a game where it's kind of, you know, you're beating up Venom and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like it seems like it'd be the thing that you're like, oh god, this again. But it's not. It's that's something I've always enjoyed about Miles, and like I like that the game at the end of it allows you to be in a room with all the people, and a lot of them from the first game too. Like you've got you've obviously got like Rio and Genki, but you've got like Teo and his little Spider-Man cat and everything else. And you just get to chat, and like also it did this very like crazy thing that I think a lot of video games fail to do, which is make an impact on the player beyond a character point of view. Like I went and I read stuff about that music, and I went and just put some of it on in the background while I did some swinging afterwards, and I'm like, this is fucking cool.
It's great. You get a cool little suit after as well. The Miles is like 1940s like kind of jazz singer suit with a little hat and everything.
And I was swinging around going, shoe up, shoe up.
It's great. It's great.
Also, before we get off side quests, the one that people are like, take a guess as to how people receive the Haley mission where you play as Haley.
I love that mission. That's genuinely, it's a great mission because it's something different. I found it so interesting how you could take the perspective of a deaf character and actually make that work. Actually, because like the sound of everything was like muffled and that type of stuff, and like the way she interacts with the world was like really interesting and unique. And they even like helped, and they even like, I feel like the way they used the functions of the controller in this game are just are so good for across the board. But like during that mission in particular, it really helped with like senses and that type of stuff as well. And it was, I really loved that mission.
I think it was ambitious in the sense that they aimed to do something that I think most games would often overlook, or at least most studios would overlook.
Yeah.
Like, why would and this is horrible to say, but I'm coming at it from the perspective of like studios that just want an easier ride.
Yeah.
Like they'd say like, why would I include this if it makes life harder for the player, and also like from a narrative thing, we have to do so much more to explain stuff. And I just like, it's like, well, maybe because it fucking matters, dude. Like there are different types of people on the planet, and like, you know, like everyone, I feel like people always go like, when representation appears in like mainstream media, most people just accept it, but when you're forced to like play it and literally kind of like, I know this sounds redundant because it's a video game, but like walk a kind of a couple of hours in their shoes or whatever, like you become more aware of like certain troubles and tribulations that like people actually in the real world face who can't put that controller down and do live with those things. And you realize like, oh, it's beautiful as well. It's not just a fucking hindrance. Its disabilities aren't defined by the fact that people are to a degree unable to do certain things.
No, absolutely.
It just means they experience life in a different way, which is really, really interesting to explore, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And people would have been dickheads about that, or
take a guess now.
Yeah. Well, there's one mission which I knew people were going to be dickheads about. There's one where a Brooklyn Visions, there's like a set of missions you can do, and one of them is helping a guy ask another guy to prom, basically. And
there's a shock. Yeah. Wow. People are. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. And it's just a very sweet mission. Like the way it plays out, it's so sweet, it's so romantic. It's very beautifully done. But But hey, people are gonna people, you know.
Yeah, I saw. It may not have been about that, but like just in general, some guy. It came up on like I follow this account on Twitter called like Successful Ratios or something. And it's just every now and again it's just funny to just see someone just get absolutely annihilated.
Yeah.
Online, especially because if they put their take online and their take is just fucking ignorant, then fuck you, get bullied. I don't care. And this guy was like, how are you going to have two Spider-Men in one game and ruin them both with wokeness? And like just the statement, by the way, that like if you're new to the internet, welcome, it's terrible, but like if you haven't, it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Wokeness isn't anything. It doesn't mean anything. There's no definition of it. And so to make this point, someone underneath said, "What does that mean?" And it just never got responded to.
Yeah.
And the likes on the "What does that mean" tweet just through the roof.
Because they don't know. It's just a buzzword that they use. And it's just a buzzword that is used to make people afraid and to think like, this is a thing we need to fight against because woke is going to ruin your way of life. No, it's not. It's just being nice to people. Stop it.
It's so easy to just not be a prick.
I know. It's so much more effort to just like go out of your way and just be angry about fucking the dumbest shit which does not matter. There's a black person in Big Bro. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah, get a life. Like, just fucking find something you enjoy. I mean, I know why they parrot all the shit they don't enjoy, because it's hate is monetizable and everything else. But like, fuck me, if your life is peddling fucking dismay amongst people, I hope they look back on some of their deathbeds and just be like, wow, I really contributed nothing to this world whatsoever.
Lawrence, this game is woke, and as a result, I hate it. But
well, obviously, that's true for me too.
Yeah. I think the last side quest stuff we'll talk about just quickly, because this is something I really enjoyed, is the Yuri sideline stuff.
Oh yeah, this was probably one of my most hyped things to happen. Like I was when I played the DLC, the highlight, because the DLCs were good. They had the Black Cat one, and you had the Yuri and the Hammerhead one, and the Silver Sable one, and the Yuri one was by far and away the most interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Just because you dealt with her going down a path that like Spider-Man was not going to follow her down and was going to take a pretty defiant stance in disputing against it. Yeah. And when you consider that Yuri in the first game, she's your main contact. You spend most of your time on the phone with Yuri. Yeah. And like, also, I really bought into their relationship. Like the whole like.
Do you know why?
Huh?
Do you know why?
Are they married?
Yeah, they are.
I thought they were married.
Yeah, they are. And I just think it's funny that like his wife is playing a character with his name.
Yeah. I've always thought that is strange. Yeah. It must be so weird when like as Peter Parker he has to be like Yuri. Yeah. But yeah, no, I really, really bought into their back and forth, the Spider Cop stuff. It was all really interesting. And then like...
Yeah, it was a little propaganda, but unintentional. It was noticeable that there was just none of that in this game. They were like, well, maybe we messed up with that. Let's just avoid it.
I'm pretty sure straight away, like, Genki's like, I repurposed this thing, and Spider-Man's like, we don't spy on people, Genki. That's naughty.
Yeah. I think, like... there's one line that Yuri has just about like killing Spider Cop or something like that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's just leave that as it is and just not talk about that. That's the game saying, yep, we messed up. We're moving on. Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry about this. All right, times have changed. Like we see. Yuri does, however, in this storyline have one line, because obviously it's now grappling with the fact that she is a vigilante in her own right, but one that very much does not abide by either of the Spider-Man's rule set.
Yeah.
And she has this line, and I wrote it down when I was playing it because I was just like, oh, fuck, that's good. That's juicy stuff. Yeah. And she says, I'd rather lose sleep over the one person I killed than all the others I didn't save.
Yeah, it goes hard.
It goes hard. So hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
A great fight with Yuri as well in like one of those missions as well.
I do wonder, like, how?
Yeah. I wonder that for a lot of this game, for quite a few different moments throughout, not just this game, for the first one, and Miles too, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, whatever.
Like, if this is Yuri from the first game, like, I don't want to, but she's down in 1 second.
Yeah, but you know, she's done some training.
She's done some training.
Maybe that suit's padded quite a bit, you know. Who knows?
That's true, yeah. She went, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go train with the least effective weapon of all time. this nunchuck on a string or something.
It's on a chain. It's like a scythe on a chain. It's great. I love it when you're just doing like a random mission and like just Miles or Yuri will show up as well. That's very fun. Yeah.
I like that she's the only one that just refuses to high five you as well. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's very fun. But no, the flame missions, like throughout all these missions, I was like, who the fuck is the Flame, man? Because I was like, I have like a pretty decent knowledge of Marvel characters and like and Spider-Man rogues and all this type of stuff. So I'm like, Spider-Man villain, fire based. I'm like, the fuck is that? I'm trying to think, and I'm like, the only one I could think of was like Pyro from X-Men. They're doing a Wolverine game. Is this a quick link to that? But I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. I'm like,
are you gonna finish the Flame side quest, and then at the end it's Johnny Storm in a towel clicking his fingers, and he's like, the ladies love this.
Exactly. For the whole thing, I was like, I don't know. And then they like, there's the mission where he's like, hello, it's me, and I'm like, oh, it's some guy, I guess. Like, maybe it's just an obscure character I don't know, or they're just going for something new. But then I finished the quest. Then I finished it, and I was like, oh, okay, I see. And then like you get a phone call after from Yuri, and she's like going through this guy's various aliases, and one of them was, of course, Cletus Cassidy. It's Carnage, and it was very interesting how that all played out, I think.
I agree. It was one of the moments where, like, firstly, you're doing the Yuri storyline, so you're already emotionally invested in that, and then at the end, they're just like, Carnage, and you're like, whoa, what? Hang on, whoa.
Yeah.
But, I will never get tired of how difficult studios find it to force the word Carnage into something. Because it is not a word people say.
I feel like in this, they intentionally, like, missed it, because there's a line where it's like it seems like he's building to say it's gonna be but he says like it's gonna be and then something else, and then he says Carnage after it, and it was like I don't know, it was fun. I think it was a lot of fun.
They did it with Woody Harrelson or something as well, didn't they? It's like, and
they did it with Woody Harrelson, but that was like the most obvious thing ever.
And that movie knows what it is as well.
Yeah, bad is what it is.
I think the first Venom movie was like, we're serious, we're Venom, and then like the second movie they were like, course correct, we know this is stupid now.
Was the first movie serious? I don't think it was that serious.
It wasn't serious, but it was very much trying to carve its space in, like, we're the sillier Venom, but we take ourselves seriously. Whereas like then the second one, they had Woody Harrelson in that fucking wig, where he looked like Ronald McDonald, and it was all just a bit more stupid, I would say.
It's pretty bad. But yeah, so that's the side quest anyway.
Indeed. Let's do Big Venom.
Venom. When I said earlier, there was like a few moments where I actually screamed at my TV.
Yeah.
One of them was like, once Peter has lost the symbiote, you know, he's got it securely strapped up in his little backpack or whatever, and then he goes to Oscorp, and then Harry ends up getting the symbiote back, and he transforms into Venom. Great sequence, all of that. But then, just as the camera slowly pans around to his back, and then like the gameplay comes up, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? My mind was fucking, and that whole sequence just like running through Oscorp, just destroying guards, and while Norman is like, "Don't hurt my son."
I remember like after playing that, or like I think when we touched base and we were like, right, we've both finished the story, we can freely talk to each other now. I rung you and I was like, what's even more funny than playing as Venom and like ripping people's fucking legs off and shit. In albeit like a fairly sanitized way. You're not getting too much gore stuff.
No.
But I do like that, just the sheer power you feel, but all of it is worth it for the underscoring of, like, guards are being killed, like, heads are being necks are being snapped by Venom, and like, Norman is just over the intercom being like, non-lethal force, please, non-lethal force, and like, he's like, Harry, if you like, there's, I can make this go away. I can, you haven't done anything too bad yet. Meanwhile, like, he's ripping spines out and shit. And it's very evident of, like, this is a man who knows that he faces. I mean, he knows it when he created a fucking bioweapon and it killed half of New York last game.
Yeah.
And he didn't spend one night in a fucking prison cell. Like, he knows he can get away with it, so he's just talking to his son, who, as far as he knows, is in full control murdering people as a big monster, and it's just like, I can make this go away, I can sweep this one under the rug, and I'm like, okay, Norman.
Here's something. And I feel like I know what you're going to say, but
yeah.
Is Norman a bad person?
Right. This is what I love, and you were saying this earlier about, because I don't know if you do know what I'm going to say, because the natural instinct is to be like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I think there is a difference between being a bad person and being a prick.
Yeah.
Norman
I
is a prick.
Oh, see, I would have it the other way around. I think he's a bad person, but he's not a prick. He's not, like, doing these things to be like, yes, I'm going to hurt these people. I think that's, like, a prick. Oh, but I see where you're coming from. But, like,
I'm saying it in the sense that his demeanor, he carries himself in a prickish manner. He exploits Otto in the first game because he's a prick and he knows he can lord power over him as the mayor.
And he's rich, and he can do pretty much what he wants and stuff.
Yeah, and like the Silver Sable stuff, like he puts other people in harm's way, ignores the fact that they set up prison camps in his city, where he's running for re-election as mayor because of a bioweapon he created. Like, but he didn't create a bioweapon though. He wasn't making Devil's Breath to be like, and we'll release this into a civilianized area to kill people. It was created, like, everything he's done has been to help first his wife, but now Harry. And that's why I like the good intentions behind him, but the prick element comes in where you consider, like, you speak to one of the doctors, the doctor that kind of takes you to the end of the game. I can't remember his name.
Dr. Connors?
No, not in this game. In the previous game, who's like,
he was like Morbius, Dr. Michaels. It's Morbius.
Oh yes, God, yeah. And yeah, you speak with him, and he's like, it's not so much he didn't intend for it, but it's the billionaire that faces no consequence. He knowingly developed, not intended to be, but ultimately ended up being a weapon of mass destruction in the middle of New York fucking city. Yeah, right? Like, in the middle, like, it's just something it's a no-no. Like, I think there's a line as well that he was like, forget re-election, he'll be tried at The Hague for war crimes.
Yeah.
And it's like that, if you're going to be that level of irresponsible, then you're absolutely, maybe prick is too weak.
Yeah.
But you're right in saying that it's all well intentioned. He's not doing it to hurt a single soul.
No, he's just like, I don't know. He's someone who's just like, he's lost control in, like, a big way, and like everything he does kind of goes wrong, basically. But he's
scrambling now with no time left.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just creating even more fuck ups as he goes along. But yeah, there was times during this game where I genuinely felt sorry for him, because there's like, his fucking son is dying, and he just wants him to live. That's all he wants. And like, he has a scene where he like breaks down in like Peter's arms and that type of stuff, and it can be quite emotional. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting interpretation of Norman, which it's not just straight up like, oh, I'm evil Norman or anything like that. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's a good sign that we're even having these conversations. Though all we've had is the original game, a spin-off title, and the sequel to the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's good that they're obviously setting him up. Like, we're talking about, like, teasing us and stuff with the Green Goblin stuff, but like, for us as fans to already be having a conversation about what side of morality Norman comfortably sits on and what side he operates on, like, you know, a large part of the Green Goblin, at least in modern interpretations, is very much that duality of who's at the wheel kind of thing.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think it's really cool. And like you're saying, I fucking love how they reimagined some of these characters, because Spider-Man has history. Spider-Man is at his best when he has a personal vested history with these people. Like, it's why the Otto fight works in Spider-Man 1.
100%, yeah.
And it's why Miles is such a good pairing with Mr. Negative now, because of Jefferson Davis and everything. But like, this when this culmination to this story happens, when the trilogy does cap off, hopefully with Green Goblin,
I think it's a pretty safe bet that
I think so too. But like, it will be such an emotional heavy experience, because we've been able to see these moments where he breaks down because he's losing his son.
Yeah,
we know that from all of his tape recorders, that how much he loved his wife. And like that, it's gonna, you know, same way with Otto. Like, it's gonna hurt to punch him. And I can't wait for that. I think it's gonna be really such an interesting character.
Oh, but speaking of fucking hurting to punch someone, fights you don't want to do. Oh, mate, like, we kind of skipped over a lot of the symbiote Peter stuff, but like, I don't know if you say, like, I wanted to hit him for a bit. Well, yeah, okay, that's fair. But like, the Miles versus Peter fight, I was like, as soon as like it dropped into that arena bit, as Miles, I was like, oh shit, okay, this is happening, I guess. Wow, intense.
I think I said this to you. I may have said this to you earlier, or I said it to someone else. One of the moments that just fucking scares the shit out of me is when you turn invisible and Venom and Peter just go, "We can see you." And I'm like, oh god, oh no.
It's great. I can't remember what it was, but the first time Peter used the we instead of I was like, oh fuck, that's not good. That's not good. Ugh.
I'm pretty sure, like, the first time the voice comes out, is you're just it's not a moment. You're just swinging.
It is, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're just swinging, and it goes like kill, or something like that, and you just go like my eyes immediately darted to the bottom right corner. I was like, we're not on the phone. Who are we talking to? Who's this? But like, I like that they make those moments feel like. It makes sense that is not a big cutscene or character moment. It's you're swinging, you're spending time alone in Peter's thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah. And just before we go on to Venom, just some symbiote Peter stuff I fucking love. I think this is probably my favorite interpretation of the symbiote story we've had so far, because I think it's really great. There's a sort of sequence where like he like comes back home. I think it's great that throughout the entire game he never takes off the symbiote suit. From the moment he gets it, he never takes it off, which I think is fucking key, because that needs to be attached to him and feed into him at all times. Yeah. So that's really interesting. But yeah, there's a mission where like he comes back home and then he just like goes to sleep or whatever, and then like Craven's guards have like followed him. And it's like an MJ mission, but like you turn back around and like Peter's gone. And you like have to sneak through the house and like dispatch guards, but then occasionally like Peter will just drop down and take a few out and that type of stuff. And it's terrifying. But then like at one point you realize, oh, Peter's fully asleep. Like, this is not Peter at all. This is just the symbiote just using him like a puppet, essentially. And it's...
That moment when it peeled, like, because MJ kind of very confidently convinces Miles to lock her in, basically. Yeah. She's like, drop these pipes down or whatever. Drop this video game debris down so that I'm stuck in this tunnel. And Miles does it kind of begrudgingly. And that sequence in there where MJ is trying to get through to Peter... I've been excited about that sequence since I first saw the trailer, and there's a brief moment where you can see MJ hiding from Peter, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
But that moment where it peels back and he's asleep, it feels like something inside of me just, like, my heart sunk. Yeah. And I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then like he wakes up for that one moment and just goes, run.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, okay, I'm running. It's like the Drake and Josh line where he's like, I'm running. It's like that.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. And then he just like wakes up on a bench in the city and he's like, this is fine and normal, I guess.
Yeah, and I like he's like, why did no one wake me up?
Yeah, like
I'm now cross at everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
While we're there, it's a good point. I know we touched on it a little bit, but just we're both adamant defenders of the MJ stealth missions. They are a good change of pace. What I will say here is they are a lot better. Like they are more fun to play here.
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
think that's just because you get more agency. I think there's a disconnect in the first game where MJ has these set pieces.
Yeah.
Or set pieces is a strong term for them, but like these side missions, basically, that are part of the narrative story. And they do make sense because she is an investigative reporter and is therefore sneaking around. It's the whole sleuth thing. She's supposed to be weaving in and out unseen.
Yeah.
Getting what she needs and getting out of there. But it does come as a disconnect when she... Basically, a massive part of the first game is them, Peter and MJ, building their relationship up again, and revealing that the reason they broke up originally was because Peter treated her like she was made of glass, and she wasn't. She doesn't have spider powers, but she's still fucking capable of just doing some basic stuff.
Yeah.
And when Peter does come to accept that, then they can kind of start to heal and rebuild their relationship. There is a disconnect in the first game when MJ says, "I'm not made of glass," but she's dead. Mission over on the first detection in any mission she's in.
Yeah.
Like
true.
a guard, you don't even see her get like hit or something. A guard will be like, "Hey, wait!"
Yeah.
And then it's just like game over, and it's like, well, I guess she is kind of made of glass. Like, it feels like you're telling me something that is, and then reinforcing the different thing. And like, is she a bit overpowered in this? Yeah, but it's fucking. I'm tasing people. It's fun.
Yeah. I excuse me. I don't really care that she's overpowered. I like it.
Yeah.
I like being able to just like run up to a guard and just like fucking grab him by the neck and taser him and that type of stuff. It's fun.
And the guards in question, they're like fucking like 7 foot tall. Yeah. And you're like, judo flip.
Yeah, I don't care. Side note as well, we didn't really talk about this, but how Peter actually gets a symbiote when Craven just like fucking stabs him and was like, oh shit, okay. That was intense. I really liked that sequence quite a lot, really. When he seemed like he fully died as well.
I think he did. I think the symbiote brought him back.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And again, what we were saying earlier about like making you worry about things. I was terrified that the game. I know that there are 2 Spider-Men in this universe.
Yeah.
Right. And I was absolutely terrified that by the time the symbiote came off of him, it would revert him back to where it found him, which is dead.
Ooh,
Very dead.
Yeah.
So I was quite concerned about that. I like it when a game gets real with the stakes like that and just makes you shit yourself. It took me back to Last of Us 1, Joel getting impaled.
Yeah.
And then Ellie is just like struggling to walk him around.
Yeah, it is very much like that because after that you got to walk with MJ for a little bit. Well, like Harry is just like wrecking Craven, like
just fucking annihilating.
You like
I've been in Europe all this time.
You like walk through a doorway and then you'll just see them both like crash through and that type of stuff. It's very fun. But yeah, I kind of like the fact that like without the symbiote, Peter never really stops Craven. Really, like
no, he doesn't.
Yeah, without the symbiote, like Peter would fully. Well, he was just killed. So yeah, Craven would definitely have won that fight. I
like those moments where he is walking with MJ and it does get real, and he says like, when a character starts being like, I never had enough time.
Yeah,
I was always so busy, and I'm like,
no.
Yeah, I was genuinely like, is Peter what? Yeah. And like I thought about like, no, that's implausible. But then I thought there's another Spider-Man ready in the wings waiting. And then like the last time I thought this was the last time I thought no, they surely couldn't was when in The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
Laura Bailey, both times. She's there.
Oh, yeah.
It's always Laura Bailey's fault.
the kiss of death from Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey is just the MVP of hate from toxic fanboys.
She won't rest until she's annihilated all of them. Brilliant.
Good for her. Good for her.
Indeed. I think so.
So back to Venom. So Harry's Venom.
Yes.
Which is great. Terrifying Venom. I feel like he's fucking huge. There's a moment, there's a scene where you see him just walk through fire. Fire being traditionally one of Venom's like main weaknesses. And it's like, oh, okay, we're not fucking around here, I guess then.
It's just the bell. It's just the bell.
Yeah. And it's great. He looks fucking amazing. Tony Todd does an incredible Venom voice, the really dark nature of it. And this, like, the plans this Venom has, like his whole idea of literally like taking over the world, and you like see that whole like sequence of like what he wants to achieve and stuff, and it's like it's terrifying. He gets pretty fucking close.
Yeah, like it really does.
There's sequences in this game, like the moment where you see like all the symbiote shit over New York, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is. And then I'm just like, what are the Avengers doing, man? Where the fuck? In this game, I was like, the Baxter building is there now as well. I was like, Reed, Tony, what are you guys doing, man?
Come on, get up, help.
Like, they are literally just looking out their window like, nah.
Yeah. They see Spider-Man going, and they're like, oh, and he's got a mate. There's two Spider-Man now. There's this double reason to put our feet up today.
I don't necessarily want to see them in this universe.
No, stay away. Give me more Spider-Man stuff. Yeah,
because it's like, it's Peter and Miles' game. It's Spider-Man. But I don't know. It just seems weird to have that. They make a point of having the tower there and referencing the characters in this universe. So it just makes it weird when all this shit is happening. There's not even a whiff of
Well, I mean, like, great
just have
great
even like
in the game.
Have just like, I don't know, like a JJ podcast or a Danicast say like, oh, the Avengers are still off in California or whatever, dealing with this issue or something. But I don't know.
It would be so easy to just, firstly, not write them in, but they did that, so now write them out.
Exactly, you wrote them in. There's a whole mission where we're fucking running around with Doctor Strange's Wand of Watu. So like,
yeah, right. That's the thing that gets me. I'm like, yeah, the Black Cat is teleporting, right? But there's still not a peep.
They even get a note from Wong saying, we owe you one. Could have showed up. Good time to redeem that one.
I know where you owed him one. Yeah. But luckily, obviously the day is saved because Adidas arrived.
Fucking hell, man. I think it's very telling that like pretty much everyone, as soon as they saw that suit, just absolutely despised it, and then like a few weeks later, it came out that it was actually like a contracted deal with Adidas to put it in there. Well done, Sony.
But did they let Adidas make it? Like,
I think so, yeah, because they're selling it. Like, it's like gym gear that they're selling, and you can buy it.
But who the right? This is what I don't understand. Right, this is what I cannot fathom about this deal. Because one, no one wants Spider-Man to look like that, and two, if you're going to the gym, you don't want to look like that.
Well, there you go.
Like, what the fuck? Like, imagine showing up to the gym and there's people around with their cool.
I don't think the mask is part of it. First of all, I don't think the mask is part of it.
I would hope not, but like even just like the torso piece, that's embarrassing enough.
Yeah,
like it just doesn't look good. It looks like a cyclist it looks like a kick-ass suit, or a cyclist put on some trainers and tried to make a superhero suit out of it.
It's awful. It is just fucking corporate greed, just missing the mark and just ruining something because of it. And also the whole time for a Miles Morales original doesn't really make sense because we already fucking had that. Like,
it's
that was that we did that in Miles Morales. Like, that was the whole point. Peter gave him a suit and he was like, this is great. It's not really me. I'm going to kind of make my own thing, sort of stuff. And then he did, and it's great. And I don't know. Seems odd.
I don't know either. It is strange, and I think it's just something that like I think because Peter had a few suit changes in game,
Yeah.
and Miles was kind of left by the wayside in suits in general.
Yeah.
I think they had to. I think they wanted narratively to change him, and then Sony saw an opportunity to get their greasy little mitts in.
Yeah, I don't blame Insomniac for this at all. I think it's fully corporate.
They got to fucking pay their staff as well.
Yeah.
That deal is not going to be fucking a number to be scoffed at.
I pray to fuck we never see that suit again.
I don't think you will. I don't think they will. I think they're going to be like the first mission of Spider-Man 3. Miles is going to be like, and it's time for a new Miles original, and it's completely not like this.
As soon as I finished the game and I could change my suit again, I was right back to the classic suit, back to the
I've
Miles.
never felt pain like going to the pause menu and then being like, suit is unavailable to change at this moment, and I'm like, motherfucker, I know that's the rest of the game.
What do you think of the anti-venom stuff?
I don't mind it because I think, firstly, I like the white suit. I think the white suit looks cool. The stuff I will say is I think I'm not necessarily certain it's a double-edged sword because as a person that plays the game, I like the fact that they gave me venom powers.
Yes.
And if they took them away, I would be like, but I want my venom powers.
Yes.
As a fan of the character,
first of all, sorry to interrupt, but that is a good point of view because like once you have the symbiote powers, it's like it's just as addictive as having the symbiote. You're like, I can see why Peter doesn't want to give this up.
Exactly, right?
I like using
it's a lot
this.
easier to beat people up in it.
Yeah, like when you fucking use the Venom Surge ability, and there's like a moment where you're just like tearing. I think it's in the EMF lab where you're just tearing through Craven's guards with the symbiote surge. And it's like, holy shit, man, this is intense. This is fucking wild. Like, I wouldn't want to give this up either.
I wait to use my Venom Surge until I've got like 3 of those fucking hunter dogs in front of me, and then I'm like, I'm gonna tear you fucks apart.
I didn't struggle with the dogs.
I hate the dogs.
I
so
probably
much.
had an easier time than you because I was fully upgraded though. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I had all my gadgets and everything. So yeah.
all right, don't rub it in.
You gotta spend time. You gotta grind. You gotta do the work.
I am enjoying just kind of casually going through it now, right? But I'll also say that like my play was hindered by the fact that I this is gonna make me sound so hard done by. I bought the game, played the game for a day, and then went on a lovely holiday with my wife.
Oh no!
And then came back, and then had one day back at home, and then went to visit my family who lived 2 hours away from me. So I was like, I played this game, and then I just shotgunned it the very next day, or the day that I was back. So I actually completed the story in about 2.5 days.
Yeah.
So I wanted the story because I was like, if I go away for a week, all I'm going to see is spoilers for the story.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need the story done, and now I can kind of go and explore a bunch of other stuff. I do. What were we saying before that stuff?
Anti-venom.
Yeah. So on the one hand, I think you've given me the powers. I don't want them to be taken away from me. But on the character perspective, I think that narratively Peter should give up those powers.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like once like the symbiote was gotten rid of at the end of the game, I feel like the anti-venom powers should have also like I don't know. I don't necessarily like the idea that he still has them. Really, by the
I
end
feel
of
like
the
it's
game.
a big walking contradiction because it's like, can Harry not get this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, can Harry not have the anti-venom suit?
I don't need it. I got superpowers.
Yeah,
My boy needs it.
I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a misstep, really. I hope I don't necessarily want to see it in the next game. If I'm being honest, it's like
no, I don't.
By the time of my like, well, I kept it around for a little bit, but I've switched back my like abilities and stuff to the arms, to the superior Spider-Man arms because I just like I don't know. It just doesn't feel right still having these abilities for me from a story perspective. I feel like that's just my opinion, but I don't know.
No, I agree. I think narratively they could very easily in the next game just have Peter like acknowledge the fact that like once all the symbiote nests were cleared out, once all of those things were cleared out of New York City, then they just faded away. I guess it just over time Peter lost touch with that ability and now he can't access it.
Yeah, I hope so. Because it also just feels a bit too OP as well, I guess.
It may have fucking heals him. Like, there's no stakes with Peter now. He can't. I mean, he can die, but it's gonna be very fucking hard.
Yeah.
Which is and that's something that you lose because it's like the raw impact of those moments where he gets stabbed. Like if that happens in Spider-Man 3, I'm just gonna be like, he's fine then. Yeah, he's gonna be absolutely fine.
Yeah. It's all the benefits with none of the consequences. Really.
Exactly. It's all the cake. It's eating all the cake, basically.
Yeah, exactly. All the cake, none of the calories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A world we all dream we could live in.
Yeah. Oh God, do we? Yeah. Tell me about it. I do like all of that stuff though. I think one thing I'll say about it's not Venom, but it's kind of an arm of Venom is when MJ gets turned into Scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably just like the most roasted I've ever felt in my life. Because I'm like. I've seen some memes that it's like, I don't want to hurt you anymore, MJ, and then he just spin kicks her into a wall.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, I know that that's all in like as a joke, basically. But
yeah,
I understand narratively that he's not hitting MJ. But like, you're just fighting MJ, and she's like, because Scream has access to MJ's thoughts, and is obviously there is part of MJ that is. Having this is the worst part of MJ coming out.
Yeah.
And it's something that she would as a compassionate character and loving supportive girlfriend of Spider-Man, it's something that she wouldn't say.
Yeah.
But like when she's like, you can't even pay the fucking she's not saying fucking, but I'm putting a bit of flair on it. She's like, you can't even pay the fucking mortgage, like you're gonna lose your aunt's house and it's all because of you. Like and it's just like, but this is what I was saying at the start of the podcast, right? Like, first game is about the consequences Peter Parker faces from being Spider-Man, and this game is about the consequences that Peter Parker pushes onto people close to him.
Yeah.
Because of his inability to balance his shit.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course MJ takes the brunt of it, right? Of course she's the one that now, to make the money to pay his fucking mortgage, she's got to go and sell shit stories about him, which pisses him off. And then he gives her shit, and she's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Love it. Great sequence and really good boss fight as well.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Everyone on Peter Street has to know he's Spider-Man. Right? Like, he's just walking into the house, mask off, broad daylight. Like, come on. There's a scene at the end where Miles is just there, fully in the street, just mask off. Like, what are you guys doing?
You got one nosy neighbor, and that's it. Either that, or they've and it's not a possibility they've bought out that street, right? Because they can't pay their own fucking house off.
I saw a meme that someone posted. Someone I think it was in photo mode, but they got Peter to the front of the house, just in his Spider-Man suit, and then made it seem like a Snapchat photo. Guys, I think my neighbor is Spider-Man, with a Snapchat text across it. That was very fun.
It is. It's true though, isn't it? Everyone, if not, then they're at least the dumbest people in the world because they're Spider-Man. The Spider-Men do sure have a lot of meetings outside this guy's house.
They show up here quite a lot. I think is Mary Jane having an affair with Spider-Man?
What's going on?
He's always sneaking out at night. What's going on?
Peter never seems to be there. What's going on? Yeah. What do you have you got anything kind of major? Because we should start wrapping up fairly soon. But
no, just really I love the Venom stuff. I love how it all plays out. It just seems to escalate, and there's some very fucking big stakes to it. With Venom really fucking wanting to take over the world. I like how it's kind of it's a team up at the end. It's Spider-Man, it's Mary Jane, all of them working together and that type of stuff, and they all play an equal part in stopping it. I would say if I had to make some criticisms, it's a bit, some of the boss fights I feel are a bit restraining when they confine you to this kind of arena space.
It's
really
true,
yeah, because I feel one of the best fights in the game is the opening Sandman mission, because it's just out in the city, you know, and you
It
like
knows that you're Spider-Man.
exactly, yeah, and it can like throw you through a building, and you go flying, and you web wings and swing, and you have to use all your Spider-Man abilities. The fact that like the final battle with Venom, it's just like at Midtown High School, and he's just like it's like this weird little arena sort of base thing. It's just like I don't know. It just like was Spider-Man, so let's be Spider-Man. Let's swing through the city and fight Venom and that type of stuff. I just feel like that'd be more interesting, really.
The best Spider-Man set piece still, I think, to this day, is in game is the construction site where Mr. Negative intros in Spider-Man 1. Mainly because it like you weave in and out of buildings. You have to stop debris falling from the sky. You can take down a helicopter. You have to like traverse up different levels to fight people. And I think like that's why I think the Scream fight is one of my favorite ones, because you can like swing above the house and it's open air and you can go places.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I disagree with that being the best set piece. I feel like this game really upped it in terms of set pieces. Like that, like I say, we touched upon it briefly, but that whole Black Cat mission was fucking incredible.
That was very good, yeah.
And the mission as well, where you're chasing down the lizard, all very good, really good stuff.
I like. Oh, speaking of like fucking, the point in the story that you're in is like when Peter he's still under the guise of I'm being a great Spider-Man, but he's still very inflicted by Venom and affected by it and stuff. And he's chasing Connors down, and like Connors like is a big fucking lizard. And Peter's talking to him and he's like, dude, he's a lizard. you don't get it right now, right? You're gonna have to wait for a bit. And then Peter, like the lizard, like snarls at him, and he's like, "Fine, you asked for this," and just starts fucking wailing on him. And I'm like, "He didn't. You know he didn't."
Yeah, it's true.
He's like, "Think about your wife," and he's like punching the shit out of him. Yeah, no, I agree. It's. I don't think it ever affects like my enjoyment of it, but it would. I imagine an ideal world where those boss fights are just a bit more open air and a bit more traversal based.
Yeah. I think it'd just be more fun. Like we're Spider-Man, so like let's be Spider-Man. Why confine us to this small little arena where we can't really swing around and stuff like that, you know?
Especially because I think where the traversal is at its weakest is in small elements, small spaces. Because you're so overpowered to the point where like you leap and it's designed to fling you fucking miles.
Yeah,
in the air, and like when you do that little jump and you just kind of jump up and then immediately fall back down because there's an arena around you and invisible walls. It's a bit like okay, not as fun.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, really fucking great time with it. Seems like Peter's taking a step back from being Spider-Man.
Yeah, until Spider-Man 3,
yeah. Until Green Goblin comes about, and then he has to. But I think Insomniac have confirmed that like Miles is now the main Spider-Man of this universe. No.
They have, but I'm almost concerned for. We've had 2 games now that affirm Miles is his own Spider-Man and is capable.
Yeah.
But I want to see. I don't want Miles versus Green Goblin. I want Peter versus Green Goblin.
I think you'll get it, but I don't think we're finishing Spider-Man 3 with 2 Spider-Men.
No, I don't either. And the one thing I am concerned.
But I don't think that necessarily mean Peter dies. But I don't think we're having 2 Spider-Men going forward.
I don't think so. I think they're gonna. Once they've narratively explored what they can, one of them's gone.
Yeah.
And I know the one that's going to be gone. But like, I think the one thing narratively that does concern me is they spent 2 games saying Miles is his own Spider-Man. He's powerful in his own right. He's actually got more of a handle on this than Peter.
Yeah.
And then if Spider-Man 3 intros with Miles being, New York's Spider-Man, the one and only.
Yeah.
And then Green Goblin comes in, and he's like, Peter, help! It's like
I don't think they'll necessarily do that. I think it'll be personal stakes for something for Peter to come back.
Yeah.
It'll be.
I hope so.
There'll be a reason for it, really. Something personal, like Harry's still alive, albeit like seems to be in a coma now or something. How long he's alive for, I mean, it's not looking great for him, really.
It's really not. I mean, at least, and that's another thing I liked as well, that Miles gives him that fighting chance. Like, Peter is powerless to do it. Miles is like, man, I got a fucking defibrillator in my hands. Come here with this shit. What do you hope to see then? Like, what, I guess, like DLC, the next game, just what are your wishes for where the story goes?
Cindy Moon, my girl. Cindy.
You were so fucking excited about this.
I was like, for the whole game, I was like, who the fuck is Rio dating, man? Because like right at the beginning of the game, she's like, oh, I'm seeing someone new. And it's like, oh, okay, good for you. Do we get to meet him? And then they're like, oh, someone's come up, we can't meet him, blah, blah, blah. And like the whole game, I'm like, who the fuck is she dating, man? I want to know. And then there was a mission where you're like, you finish all of Uncle Aaron's like tech pieces.
It's Big Wheel.
It's not Big Wheel. There's a mission where you like finish all of Uncle Aaron's tech pieces, and then now it ends up in like he's now living in the apartment above theirs. And I was like, oh, she's dating Uncle Aaron? That'd be weird. She's not, thank fuck.
That'd be so weird.
It would be weird, yeah. It doesn't play out like that, thankfully. And I was like, who's she dating? It's got to be someone. They made the point to say like she's dating someone, and then they're purposefully not showing us who.
Yeah.
And then post credits, the ending, we finally get to meet her boo. It's, Albert Moon is like, hey, this is my daughter Cindy, and we don't see her face. I'm like, yes, let's go. I love Silk. The comic Silk is one of my favorite like new spider characters there's been recently. She's absolutely incredible. She had a bit of a rocky start, being incredibly horny for Peter, but she has been like kind of like rewritten and reimagined and stuff, and she's great. It's such a fun character.
I know that they're not going to take that direction.
Definitely not.
Given that age difference.
Yeah, definitely not. But no, she's such a great character. So I'm so excited to see Cindy being introduced.
That was one of those reveals for me that like I didn't know I don't know the character. So like you texted me and you were like, you're gonna fucking shit your pants. Right? There's gonna be a moment where you have an aneurysm.
Perhaps I was too optimistic.
Yeah, I think you might have been, because like the first one happened, and it was, I thought you were talking about when Norman goes to see Otto, and for a brief second I thought he was gonna reveal that it was Peter to Norman. That Spider-Man was Peter Parker, and obviously that is coming because those two in a room together. It's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that will happen. But I thought that was the scene you were talking about, and then I texted you and you were like, "Nah, man, Silk," and I was like, "I'm a Google real quick." I don't know as much about this stuff.
I was very excited.
I was like, "Whoa!" The post credits. There's a little girl waving.
Yeah. No. But stuff I want to say. Obviously, Norman as Green Goblin, I think, is a given. He says like. You say to Dr. Connors, prepare the G serum or something.
Something like, I think they go that on the nose with it,
Yeah, the G serum. Like, I wonder what that could be.
It's Big Wheel.
Stop with this Big Wheel. And obviously we're going to get a return of Otto, it seems like.
He's writing the final chapter, Nathan.
There's a comic called The Final Chapter. Don't know what it is. Never read it. No. So there we go.
And that's podcasting, folks.
That is podcasting for you. No, I think maybe one thing I was thinking of is, and this could possibly work with what you were saying about Miles. I think there is a possibility where they do the Superior Spider-Man storyline, but with Miles instead of Peter. Where, if you're not familiar, Otto Octavius becomes Spider-Man. He takes over his body. In the comics, obviously he takes over Peter's body, and that's where like the arms come from and that type of stuff. So I think it could possibly be that.
You never know. A big part of Otto creating the arms in this version is because of his failing body. He has that genetic disease where he is now essentially one of the world's most brilliant minds trapped in a body that is failing him daily. Yeah,
exactly. So that could be definitely something he's like working towards, and if he does like. If Otto does manage to take over Miles' body, that'd definitely be a reason for Peter to come out of retirement.
I mean, absolutely. I just thought, I don't know
I mean,
why.
dude is like 25. Why is he retired, man? Come on. Yeah.
I just had the thought of like an old white guy wants to take over a young black guy's body, which is a movie, right? I'm just picturing Otto Octavius like, I would have voted for Obama 3 times. Where's that? Where that line is from? Who's that guy again? What's that actor called?
Jake Peralta's dad.
Yeah, that's it. The actor Jake Peralta's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very fun. Anything else to talk about?
With Norman Green Goblin, what do you think will go for? Do you think it'll be like a traditional like suit kind of look, or more of the Ultimate Universe, like the big monster Green Goblin version?
G Serum suggests something chemically altered, doesn't it? But I also think they could Raimi it where it's just a gas that makes him a bit creepy.
Gas and tech. Like,
gas and tech, and
enhanced. I think they have like laid the groundwork for some tech stuff, because there's like the mask in like the first game and everything. So
there's like a pumpkin bomb type prototype as well. I don't know, because I'm in a split mind about it, right? Because G Serum sounds kind of right. Firstly, billionaire with a lot of money screams they'll go tech route.
Yeah.
However, Insomniac love big monster.
They do.
Insomniac are very fond of big monster to punch.
Yeah.
But I kind of hope it's. I don't want to see where we.
Insomniac, consider this. Insomniac also love flying thing to chase.
Oh, very true. Yeah.
So
That is cool. But big monster could leap.
Big monster could leap. That's true.
Yeah. This is the hard thing, right? Because I think maybe just because in the game that we're going to get next, unless they do another kind of 10-hour shorter experience like Mars Morales was.
Cindy Moon. Cindy Moon.
Yeah, true, but I don't think Norman Osborn's not going to be highlighted in that, is he? I don't think.
No, not really. Well, maybe. You never know.
No, it's true. I think maybe just because we've had Venom, who is a big monster.
Yeah.
And also someone that, like, yes, he's very affected by the host.
Yeah.
But I can't see Harry's face when I'm punching him. I would like to see Norman's face when I punch him. Like, I want to feel that intensity. I think one of the amazing things about Otto was that they managed to capture big monster with the mechanical arms.
Yeah.
But when you got up close, he was just a frail old guy.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did that really well. So I'd like to see something like that. I'd like to see a big bravado bit of tech for Norman, but when you rip it off, he's just a sniveling coward underneath.
Yeah. Could work well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. I would like you to ask me if we got any tweets.
I will in a moment.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
I'm just going to do some kind of little things / nitpicks, if I may.
Oh, okay. Yes, please.
So, ever since Mars Morales, there's been this kind of, this is weird, but there's a copyright issue with the Chrysler building where they can't include it in New York skyline. Okay. So the first game, the Chrysler building is there, but in Mars Morales and in this game, it's replaced with just some generic building. Fix that, because I fucking hate that building, okay? The Chrysler building is so fucking iconic and beautiful, and just a part of the New York skyline. It's very Art Deco and great. And then it's
fans of this podcast will know that nothing aggravates Nathan more than a skyline that's just got one thing wrong with it.
Get ready for my next nitpick. But it's, I don't know. It's just so out of place. Fucking whatever the issue is, fix it. So, lawyers, I don't care. Do your shit, fix it, because I fucking hate that building.
Lawyers are waking up, and Sony's legal team are waking up in a cold sweat like, Nathan's told us, guys. We really need to get on this.
There's something that really aggravated me about the first game. It's so inconsequential, and 99.9% of players probably didn't even notice, but also would not even care about it at all. But to me, it's so annoying, and I hate it so much. You know the mission where you're MJ and you go into Norman Osborn's apartment and you like sneak around and you have to find details on like Harry and all this kind of shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Going through that mission, you're obviously in Norman's apartment, and like the way it's laid out, you walk through, there's like a garden in like the top right hand corner of it, like a small little garden area. You go through to Norman's bedroom to the left of it, and then on that, and then you come out of Norman's bedroom the other side, there's the pool there, okay? And that's how it is in that mission, okay? But then, just during like the regular sequences where you're Spider-Man, if you go to that building, you can go to the little garden area where it was. Obviously, you can't go inside, but you can see where Norman's bedroom would be. And you can go on top of like the roof and go around. But then the pool isn't there. It's on the other side of the building. It doesn't match up. And I know it's just a stupid error. It doesn't want to. But it, like, it's such a simple issue. Just fix it. I was like, they better fucking fix that in Spider-Man 2. Like, I understand why not for Miles because it's just reused assets or whatever. But for Spider-Man 2, come on, fix it. No, still there. And infuriates me. It makes me so irrationally angry.
There's a brief scene where you go to that garden again, right? The rooftop garden.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. But it's such an easy fix. And I say that I have no idea how video game stuff works. But like,
it's an easy fix, Nathan, as you described the 2-week process.
Probably longer than that. But yeah, I don't know. Fix that. Anyway, that's all it. Lawrence, do we have any tweets?
Nathan, we do.
Since you asked for them like an hour ago.
I asked for them in a timely manner, and that can be proven by the fact that we have more tweets than we've ever had before, which is technically 3, but 2. One replied to himself again. Right, I tweeted out, and by the way, we're doing this now. We do this on our other podcast, but the idea is come over to this one, before we record at some point, hopefully not always about 2 hours before, I will tweet out from the Another Happy Pod account, which is at Another Happy Pod on Twitter, that you can send us your thoughts on the topic we're going to be talking about, or you can email them at anotherhappypod@gmail.com. So, on Twitter, we have had from none other than Raw Collings.
Ooh, Big Raw.
Big Collings has said to us, what do you guys think of the available suits to unlock, and what's your best/worst?
I'm very specific with suits when it comes to these games. I don't know. I get very weird about like the look and these games, and I'm like, whenever I'm playing the game, I'm like, well, I can't change the suit because like this is the story. Yeah. Like Peter wears the suit, like Miles wears his suit, and that's the way it is. Like Peter isn't playing the story in like fucking, the Infinity War Iron Spider suit. So like, I'm not gonna wear that. I also wouldn't wear it because I hate it. But yeah, so for the most of the game, I just played through in just your standard, the Advanced 2.0 and Miles's upgraded suit or whatever it's called. Because to be honest, I probably like those the best. I think they're great designs. I really like the way they look and everything like that. They're great suits. Occasionally I'll do some side quests, and now like I play it, I just like have fun swinging around and stuff, and I really just enjoy the simplicity of the classic suit, Peter's classic suit. Just classic comic book suit, which I love so much. I also really like they put in the final suit from No Way Home. The suit, the MCU No Way Home suit, which I really like as well.
Final swing suit or something it's called?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, just like the kind of like silky almost one, which is very nice. Miles has an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. suit, which I really like. It's kind of like and there's like different variations of it now. You can like change the colors of some of the suits. So I like that suit with its like all black variant, which is quite nice. Yeah. The classic symbiote suit is great. I love that they put in like a purple version because obviously like that's how it used to look, and then the like the version which has kind of like the red and blue lighting from the animated TV show, which is quite nice. A lot of fun. I love that classic symbiote look. Just the look of the symbiote suit as well itself, like the actual symbiote suit in the game. It looks great. First of all, it's a great design, and I love that it's if you like zoom in on it, it's always moving. It's like always like wriggling about, and you can like see the symbiote moving and stuff, which is it's gross, but it's great. It's great detail on it.
I couldn't wear that if I was Peter. I'd be like, this is. It feels like there's locusts crawling on me or some shit, like little cockroaches or whatever. No, I don't know. I'm not as regimented as you are with story suits, right? I don't like the advanced suit.
Why? It's nice.
I just don't like it. I find it like it feels very like a cyclist, but he put on some shoulder pads. It just feels like
there's no pads.
I don't know. But there's not pads, but like all the white sleeve pieces, like the white kind of forearm bits. I don't like the way they look. I find it breaks up the suit too much, and there's too much going on, and I'm not a fan of it.
I will say oh, sorry, go on.
I will say it looks better. Because they've given it the kind of dark blue black undertone to it.
It looks so much better than the first advanced suit.
Yeah, which is like people are now seeing how orange that suit is compared to the red, like the deep red that they've got.
I always could see that. I always could see how orange it was, because it's strange, because like when you're playing the first game and you're looking at the suit selection, if you go from like the advanced to the classic, like it goes from very red to very orange straight away.
Oh,
so,
really?
like,
I never noticed that. I was luckily with that. Yeah, the suit that I enjoy the most, I find it when I'm doing the story stuff, I like to at least play it in a suit that he's worn in the game. I'm not as strict on it doesn't have to be the suit he should be wearing for the character, but I very much like that you can change the classic suit, the classic suit that he had at the start of the first game, before he got the advanced suit. But now it can have I don't know if it's black or if it's really darker blue.
Yeah.
But it just feels more the light blue felt too. This is Spider-Man from 1960s comic books.
That's why I like it.
I like it, but I don't find like when you're fighting fucking Venom and getting stabbed and shit and whatever. It just feels a bit too lighthearted and happy-go-lucky for me. So I liked the classic variation with the black kind of accent color. My favorite suits in the game, and this is so disappointing because they were my favorite suits. Well, one of them was my favorite suit in the last game. Is the Amazing Spider-Man suits, the TASM 1 and 2. I just think the way they look, they're so. I think the TASM 1 especially is the most clearly defined suit. I think design-wise, it's fucking pitch perfect.
Ugly.
You're wrong. I'm not a big fan of the lenses. That's why I like the TASM 2, because that is wide-eyed Spider-Man.
TASM 2 looks great. Yeah, I agree with that. It's a great suit. Yeah,
it's very good. As for like for Miles, I texted it to you. That's the kind of suit I liked for Miles. I can't remember the name of it. Where it's like it's black, but it has like a kind of a triangle shaped torso that goes down, and you can change the accent colors so it's black and red.
Oh, that's the suit just from the first Miles Morales.
Oh, is it? Oh, there you go. Yeah,
it's just that suit, just a variation on it though.
Yeah, so that's the one I like for Miles.
See, I tried that for a bit, but then I thought, oh, this just looks like the superior Spider-Man suit, which it kind of
it does. Yeah. The worst suit in the game, I think, is the Adidas one by a long shot.
Obviously, yeah.
I also just don't like what it stands for. I don't like their inclusion of it. But also the other one, the other suits, I guess they kind of just come in a range. I find there are a lot of suits for both Miles and for Peter that are just kind of they're there to have more suits in the game. Like I'm never ever gonna wear a suit where Peter has got like an astronaut helmet on. Why would I? Yeah.
Yeah, there's one there's a couple of Peters which I enjoy, which there's like I think it's called the apocalyptic suit. Where it's got like a leather jacket. It's kind of like Spider-Punk, but just like a little bit more like cyberpunk as well. 'Cause it's got like a robot arm and that type of stuff, and it's quite cool. Very cool designed. There's one for Peter which is like it's kind of like just like the Spider-Man suit, but then just like combat trousers, like green combat pants, which I quite like. And then there's a Miles. Have you unlocked the Miles Wolverine suit?
No, but I did see it. Yeah, I've seen someone have it. Yeah,
there's a Wolverine Miles Morales suit, which is like, what's going on there, Insomniac? What are you doing?
What are you cooking? Yeah,
what are you cooking?
Could it be the Wolverine game you announced like 4 years ago?
Yeah, so that's interesting, and that looks quite good in like some of the variations and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah. There's ones I don't like. I hate the Iron Spider suit. Not the classic one, the MCU version. Don't like it. I don't think they needed to include like literally every movie suit ever, but they did.
But the trouble with that is everyone. I mean, like fucking people were getting like death threats over them not including the Raimi suit for so long.
Well, it's just daft, isn't it? But
and that's the Raimi people. I understand that they're a different breed.
I don't like I don't. I've said it already, but I don't like either Raimi suits. So.
No,
I never wear them. But
no,
that's suit talk.
That was indeed, yay, little crossover. And we got another a two-parter tweet, so I'll read both of them. Who was from at Tyler Stron or Tyler's Tron? Can't tell where the gap is in that word.
Okay.
From them, I loved it. Although after finishing it, I felt as though I got more out of the first game. I'm currently replaying Miles Morales, and something about the density of the world feels better in that game than in the other tweet. I feel the sequel needed more happening in the open world, and some of the lost mechanics almost make things a bit too simpler. I still love the game, but can't help but feel like it needed more time to cook.
Fair enough. I have seen people like say, like they miss like some of the gadgets from the first one.
I miss Spider Bro.
Not me. No, Spider Bro was too overpowered.
That's why I liked it. Also,
it wasn't like technically part of like the anything. Like it was.
Yeah.
It was a power up from a suit from a movie. Like yeah. It's not. It's like the same way in the first game. You can, as Peter, you can use the Iron Spider arms, but you're not supposed to.
You shouldn't. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. Canonically, they did not exist until this game.
Mars is like, Peter, how's that new tech? And he's like, I've had this since 2018, Mars. I just don't use it all that often.
Yeah. No, I like the Switch. I like the gadgets are simpler, and it is straight to action. So you don't have like the web bombs and the impact web and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of like that because I feel like impact web and web bombs, they could be too OP at times because you could just like clear through a base and just take them out with just one web in, which seems like easy, but
where's the fun?
Where's the challenge and that type of stuff? There's I've really been loving Ricochet web this time. I'm having so much fun with Ricochet web, the way it just like bounces between everyone and that type of stuff. That's a lot of fun.
I'm quite happy that there's no I'm so glad that games are trying to phase this out. I fucking hate weapon wheels.
Oh, me too, man. It slows everything down so much,
and it just breaks immersion. It's literally the definition of breaking immersion. It feels like I'm pressing the pause button in every couple of seconds in a fight.
I hate. There's nothing worse than having to like pause the fight to like switch weapon or anything like that. Weapon wheels really need to change, and I'm glad they found like another way to do it in this game.
I do see what people are saying. It does feel simpler because there's only so many things you can have equipped.
Yeah.
Without a weapon wheel, but I think the trade-off is necessary. I do think it is.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this part of the tweet where it says, because I can't really answer this, post-game, there needed to be a bit more happening in the world?
I'd agree with that because like I've completed everything now. And there's literally nothing to do apart from...
You could just go and stop cars.
Yeah, literally. Like, literally the only thing to do is just the random crimes because I have completed everything else, okay?
Yeah.
And, like, that's fun. I can happily spend, like, an hour or whatever just swinging around listening to podcasts and just, like, stopping crimes and just being Spider-Man, just having fun doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I feel like... I think they're working on it now. I think it's going to come out in December, I think. But New Game Plus needs to once New Game Plus is out, it's over for me. I'll never stop replaying this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I think like there does possibly need to be some post like story stuff. I don't know what that be. Maybe if there is some DLC down the line, I don't know. But yeah, I kind of would agree with that. I think
I'd love to see some DLC as well, because I feel like it's, especially because New Game Plus isn't a thing right now. I know you, like you said, I know they're working on it, but like, so many people have finished the story already. Most people that have played it have finished the story by now.
yeah.
And it is very much a case of like, man, such a brilliant system, such an amazing open world, such a bigger map. But if it feels empty, then like, what's the point? The shelf life of Miles, I think, even if you do pay full price, what you get out of it is like a game that all of the side quests are super focused, so that by the time you finish all of the side quests and you're at the point where there's just random crimes as Spider-Man to do, you feel like you've completed that part of Miles's life. You don't feel like you need to go back and have a new experience.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, I feel like there's just more to do. There could be more stuff to do post story. Nathan, what we do at the end of all these episodes is we recommend stuff. It could
We
be
get any emails?
anything. No, we got no emails.
Oh, no
I
emails.
was just gonna segue past that, but
Sorry.
it's fine. Yeah, L on me. We got no emails.
Maybe because you tweeted out fucking an hour before we recorded.
Still the most tweets we've ever got.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Ratio for you. Yeah, what we do at the end of every episode is we do little recommendations. It can be anything. It could be something we've eaten, something we've played, something we've watched, something we've seen. It can be absolutely anything. And Nathan, what would you like to recommend to me and to everyone else?
A song.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. Probably know what it is, but it is the Beatles. Now and Then, a brand new song in the year of our Lord 2023 by the Beatles, which is, we spoke about this earlier, fucking insane. Just as a sentence.
New Music Fridays with the Beatles drop.
Yeah. If you haven't, I would recommend you go to YouTube and watch the short film about the song. It's like 12 minutes long, and it just like explains like how it came about, and like the work that was put into it and that type of stuff. Really interesting, very good, quite moving as well. And yeah, there's a brand new fucking Beatles song to listen to, and it's quite good. I mean, I've been enjoying it. I've been listening to it today quite a bit. It's called Now and Then. So yeah, simple as that. That's what I recommend.
Pretty wild stuff. I would recommend something that I've not really done too much of. I've dipped my toe into it, but I've mainly been watching my wife play it. So she's now started to enjoy games. She has done for a year or so.
I can tell because earlier this week I got a notification saying that your wife had added me on PlayStation Network. So I was like, oh, she's got her own account now, is she? Okay.
Well, Nathan, she's married, so back off.
I was technically friends with her first.
Yeah.
I was friends with her before I was friends with you.
Yeah, well, she didn't marry you, did she? No, but she for the longest time. So it went. This is the ordering for the last couple of months.
For the longest time.
No, Nathan, we're pushing 2.5 hours. No, Nathan.
Sorry. Oh fuck, we are.
Okay. What I'll say, so yeah, this is how the order's gone in my house. It's gone. She played Mirage. I played Spider-Man 2 for too long. And now she wants the PS5 back again so that she can play some games. And she started that, I think, day before yesterday. And she's been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
That's not a PlayStation 5 game.
She's been monopolizing the TV with her Switch.
Okay.
You know when you put the Switch on the screen?
Yeah.
That. So she's been playing that, and it looks fun. It seems like it's a game that's like...
Yeah. I have that. I play it now and then.
Yeah, it's a good game, I think. Yeah. I've only seen very beginning stages of it, but like fun concepts and like an open world that is like both quite sparse, but also kind of like teeming with life. It seems it's like Ghost of Tsushima as well. It seems very against the idea of holding your hand. It's just kind of like go places, see what you find.
Yeah, it very much is that. One thing I don't necessarily like about the Legend of Zelda games is the The fact that your weapons deteriorate and stuff. Like, you only get so many hits out of your sword before it'll break down and you need to get a new sword.
Anyway, that's our recommendations. So check them out. Let us know if you do, and where you can actually let us know if you didn't already know this. It's over on Twitter. We are on Twitter at Another Happy Pod. That is, again, I said earlier, the same place where you can have your say. I'll tweet out. Just send us a tweet back or an email letting us know what you think about whatever we say we're going to be recording. It's also where you'll get a little post reminder for when new episodes go up, which will happen every Friday at 10 a.m, which is a lovely thing that's happening. Like next week, for example, we're going to be doing this.
Hello, Editing Lawrence here. This is the part where I'd normally put like a little clip in or something, but I don't want to watch the trailer because I'd rather go in blind. The movie is Edge of Tomorrow. We're doing Nathan's doing a Tom Cruise movie. I'm as surprised as you are, but yeah, it's Edge of Tomorrow. Sorry for no cryptic fucking trailer clip or whatever, but you get it.
Also, while you're at it,
Wahoo!
Oh, no. Oh yeah,
It's
Wahoo!
not Mario.
It's not Mario. Our favourite joke. Right. Also,
You all right?
no, a brain fart. What you can do if you're bored and you just fancy it, and it'd be appreciated, is you can head on over, mosey on over. You can you can shake a tail feather on over at Apple Podcasts, where you can leave us a 5-star review. You can do that on any podcast platform of choice, but on Apple it's especially nice because you get to write a nice little comment. It takes 5 seconds, even if you don't have it. We'd really appreciate it. Maybe download the app, drop us a little what you think about the show. Maybe you're like, hey, these are too long. These are 2.5 hours long. And we would be inclined to agree. So that would be much appreciated. And yeah, you can catch us on the next Flippity Flop.
Lawrence, do you have anything to ask me?
Nathan, we have another more successful podcast, I think, don't
We do, actually, Lawrence. Yeah, thank you for asking me.
You're very welcome.
We do. It's called Still Got Legs. It's our Doctor Who rewatch podcast. That comes out every Monday at 10 a.m. Our most recent episode, we're talking about the flights of Pompeii. And in our next one, we're going to be talking about the Planet of the Ood. So it's a good fun time. We're making our way through Series 4 currently.
Making our way through Season 4.
Lawrence, there's no time for this.
Sorry, yes, you're right.
I'm very excited. So that's what's happening at the moment.
Indeed. Nothing else to say here.
Nothing else to say here.
Go and listen to someone else. Go on. You've been here for 2.5 hours. If you're still here, we appreciate you, but go and do something else.
Go play Spider-Man. Or don't. Play
Mario.
Mario. Wow.